Martha! 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 Martha!
Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? Welcome to the party. Of course, it is Hollywood After Dark. Today is the 6th of January, 2022. 1 year since the landscape of our country changed a little bit. And of course, it's going to be another night where some landscape for some future beliefs of other people out there are going to be changing as well. Tonight, we're going to be talking all about Ben Affleck and his exit finally again, maybe, I don't know, from playing Batman. And of course, Henry Cavill here is in love by Andrew Garfield. Little bit of Andrew Garfield stuff to get to tonight. Again, so sorry for the delays, but I want to bring in my friends, your friends, you know them, you love them. We have RJ and Dane from Force Adversity. How's it going, guys?
What up?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
How you Martha fuckers doing?
How you Martha fuckers doing?
Yeah, man.
Bet you didn't think I was going to lead with that, did you?
I didn't. I was surprised. Yeah.
I thought it was a good little intro. I thought it was good.
Interesting couple of days, huh?
It's been wild.
It's been, I mean, yeah, like as much as I keep trying, it's very much like the line from The Godfather. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. You know, I want to stop.
Are you equating Snyder fans with the Mafia, Matt? Are you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, QAnon would be more accurate at this point.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I mean,
yeah,
okay, so I'm sorry, I can't say that apparently because that makes me a meanie. That makes me a bad guy if I say things like that.
You're a hater. You're a hater.
Well, no, he's not being a hater. He's being the villain. You're the villain, Jarbo.
Oh, that's right. I am the villain. Don't you all know who I am? No, but it's really like it's not that I'm even trying to be the villain. What it boils down to is just like I am very much ready to put a lot of this shit to bed, and I just don't have any chill anymore. That's what it boils. I don't have any chill. I'm tired of placating people. I'm tired of coddling you and like wiping your asses and like putting a new diaper. I do it for 2 kids like 4 times a day. I don't want to do it for grown ass adults.
Well, I would also say the issue is also too. It's like I feel like we say things, but people don't actually listen, which is also a problem. And
what you're saying is provide evidence, eh?
Uh-huh.
And evidence.
Yeah.
Blasphemy.
Yes, and not only that, but when you provide evidence and you explain the facts as they are, you get told, well, the facts don't matter. What you presented, the evidence doesn't matter either. It's all about hope. It's all about this, and that. When it's like, so we're letting emotions dictate us rather than logic, which is like, sometimes emotions are fine, but it's like, I don't know.
RJ, if you can't trust, some account called, literally called just Zack Snyder or Zack Snyder's #1 fanboy or whatever to tell you the absolute objective truth, then who can you trust?
Apparently nobody. I don't know.
There's a lot of there's a lot of people out there that I think are good-willed. I think they're good-intentioned, and unfortunately, they get caught up in this whole mess. And so, of course, I always get a little yelled at with that. I always get a little bit in trouble. People are just like, oh, how can you say these things? You're just so mean. You're just mean to everybody. It's not that I'm mean. It's not that I don't care. It's just that I want there to be truth, right? Hey, what's up, Caden? I see that you're back there, man. Got you.
What's up?
I just want there to be truth. And that's what I want. And it's not even like, look, I like speculation, man. I do. I like speculation. I like you talking about what could be. Yeah, that's always a lot of fun.
That's part of movie talk. Naturally, is the speculation. Yeah. That's what we do as fans. But again, there's speculation, and then there's speculation that crosses a line that you don't want to go down.
Oh yeah, and what we're seeing today is a lot of that. What we're seeing today in the fallout of this Ben Affleck thing, particularly on one person in general, and that is Syl Abdul. I'm just gonna say it. I don't care. I'm. This is where things are kind of going a bit on the full QAnon side, Q-borg side of things.
But Jarbo, he said the same thing in 2018.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
gonna say it
I
again
know.
in 4
I know.
years when he's back to play.
Well, let me-
Batman under the Snyder.
So let's just
2 and
well.
3.
Here's it. As much as I want it to happen, I want it to happen. But clearly, Affleck at this point is saying this. So why don't we just dive right into that? Because there's actually like a lot there to get to. So there's a lot there. There's a lot of little things I had to put together, which is why I was a couple minutes behind tonight because I had to finish getting my information. So what we got is first off, this tweet right here from Flash Film News showing us here amidst the controversy surrounding the Flash, Ben Affleck had this to say about the Herald. Had said this to the Herald Sun about the film, and he says that maybe my favorite scenes in terms of the Batman and the interpretation of Batman that I've done were in the Flash movie. And that's a great little quote right there. However, it does go on to say here, it was really, really interesting. And, I hope they maintain the integrity of what we did because I thought it was really great and really interesting. It was really, really satisfying, encouraging. And I thought, wow, I think I finally figured it out. And then he adds that his experience working with Zack Snyder's Justice League and The Flash put a really nice finish on my experience with that character. And that is really what's causing the point of contention.
But Jarbo, he's getting an HBO Max series. Didn't you hear?
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that as well. And again, my thoughts on
location scouting. Guys.
Yeah, my
location scouting. They're trying to get their budget right. They've been
wasn't
trying
that
to
what
do this for
wasn't
5
that the cultured
years.
nerd saying that forever? Wasn't that the cultured nerd saying that?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Like I remember when the cultured nerd was saying like, "Oh, Ben Affleck has signed an agreement to come back to do an HBO Max show," and and now I mean, obviously, like Mikey Sutton has said the same thing, and there's a lot of people out there that are questioning that, obviously. And I have my own questions because I honestly at this point I'm not there anymore.
What's really funny too, Matt, and I need to say this because it's been on my mind. I didn't get to say it on Max's stream. I know it's really funny. For the longest time, the last year and a half since this whole restore movement happened, what have people been saying about Ben Affleck? Oh, Ben Affleck's a grown man. Let him speak for himself. If he wants to come back, he'll come back. It's all this and that. You don't speak for Ben Affleck. Let Ben's words speak for themselves. He said he came back for Zach. He said he this and that. Now all of a sudden he says this, and now it's like, well, obviously he's lying, or obviously he's playing up for press in the press
I've seen that too.
So here's the thing. Do you actually care about what Ben Affleck says? Is it really about letting the man speak for himself, or is it or do you only listen to him when it speaks to your agenda and what you want to have?
No, RJ, don't you know that actors sign NDAs and can't talk about anything?
And they do their negotiations in the trades too.
Yeah, clearly this means that he is ending this version of this character, but he's starting a new one after it.
But I'm just saying, do you understand my frustration, though? It's like we've been told this for so long, and now it's all of a sudden that his words don't matter now.
Well, this is also the second time in like a month and a half.
Yeah.
A month. So.
It's my frustration, and this is something that, I'm going to talk about it tomorrow on my stream as well. But I'm really fucking tired of anytime I get in some kind of conversation with Snyder fans, which, by the way, I am one. Okay. I've got a poster of Zack Snyder's Justice League up on my wall next to my favorite X-Men poster. Like it's awesome. I love it.
You're a fake fan, Dane.
Yeah, well, I mean, I get told that I'm a hater, or that like all kinds of. It's like, dude, just because I pay attention to what's going on and I understand how to consume media, what? Yeah, it's really frustrating to basically be told you're not a fan, or
I got told that a lot today.
God.
And I was watching an episode of Cinema Therapy last night about Luca, and that's a great channel. If you haven't seen it, it's a great channel. A filmmaker and a therapist watch movies and then break them down. It's awesome. I love Luca. It's like one of my favorite of last year. And they're talking about reverse gatekeeping, right? It's like the you can't leave angle to it, right? And so that's a lot of what it boils down to. Or once you're out, you're out. Once you're out, you're out. You can't criticize. And I've noticed that a lot in this case, where I had someone today go like, you're not a real fan. I'm like, I've been a fan of Zack Snyder since I saw Dawn of the Dead in the summer of 2004, or I think April of 2004. Like, where the fuck were you? Like what were you, like 2 and shit? Yeah. And then they're like, well, how do we know that? I'm like, so what, you're gatekeeping me now? Like I'm almost 40, I've been watching movies my whole life. I love zombie films. Like, what are you talking about? And it's literally just this idea that you cannot have an alternative opinion. And now again, it's the mantra of wait for the merger, wait for the merger, wait for the merger. Like I keep hearing all this, and it's like I still, again, I'm a when you look at like, let's say, go back to like Spider-Man and the Sony Marvel fallout from 2019, all logical business sense indicated that they were going to come to an agreement. Because it literally Far From Home had just made $1 billion. Like it's not even a question as to why this would happen, and then it came true. And a lot of people out there were kind of naysaying it, right? Not everyone, but you can look at it and figure it out. You can look at, like Zack Snyder's cut of the Justice League and go, yeah, eventually one day this will see the light of day because it's already filmed. It's tangible. It just needs the right circumstances to come to fruition. Oh yeah, a global pandemic and the launch of a new streaming platform with the telecom company at the head of it. That makes the most amount of sense. But again, it's because people don't want to ever look at the wider picture. It's very narrow. It's very focused. A lot of people tend to really kind of dive on that. And that is really what I've been seeing with all this stuff, because this particular, again, this is what was popping up. A lot of people talking about it. And look, you know what? You have this guy here. Who's this guy? We Build Mechs, Scoot. He's a fucking moron in my opinion. But he got hands on the article, right? Especially this quote right here, where Affleck said his favorite material was Batman and the Flash. And so people are taking that to mean, oh yeah, right. Like it kind of cuts out the line here.
Well, look at the first part, right?
Yeah. I have never said this. Well, what is he talking about?
We don't know.
Yeah. Well, no, we do know actually.
Oh, okay.
We do know because there's a full quote. That's, again, this is behind a paywall. This article is behind a paywall. Elements of it have been floating around. I tried logging in through VPNs in Australia to get access. And
that's exactly what Jave was saying on his video. He was like, this has been out for 2 days, but since it's under a paywall, no one was able to like really get it. And then someone just like
but it's also easy to manipulate because it's behind a paywall.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, so there's this right here, and again, it's like it's leading you to believe like I have never said this, meaning, oh, he never said he's quitting as the Batman or whatever, right? Or I've never said something. And even Sil has very much also reported the same thing here. It says, does it sound like he dies in the film? He's kind of being coy, IMO. Like even he doesn't know what the hell's going on in this film. It says here, I hope they maintain the integrity of what we did because I thought it was great and really interesting, different, but not in a way that is incongruent with the character. Ben also, for his agreement to come back, rewrote his scenes. He wrote his scenes. So that means he wrote his exit. And then, so again, people are looking at this, what I'm talking about again, with this mentality of like, you're either with us or you're against us. And I say this again, when I bring up Sil, and I don't care about criticizing him because he said earlier today here, whomever goes against my team without cause are in for the agenda. It's us or them. It's our way or the highway. It's very, very cult-like tactics. It is reverse gatekeeping. You're either with us or you're against us.
Well, even the second line is like they want Hamada burgers and we're not pushing.
And Hamada, I mean, like the Hamada burger thing, I've never even been a big fan of. I thought it was a fun joke as a one-off, but that's whatever. But people are trying to use it as this like attack or whatever. It's creating this narrative. It's like you're with us or you're against us.
Well, it's also creating the narrative that if you're against Sil and you're against the mindset that what they're saying, that you're a supporter of the new movies and the new regime that you
exactly. And that's tied to other people as well. And there's all that stuff, but again, going over here and taking a look at this is, this is the full context. The full context here. Where it says, having seemingly hung up his cape after what he describes as a very, very, very hard experience on the troubled Justice League, Affleck will return to the role of Batman and the Flash later this year. His experiences with director Joss Whedon and the pressures of the high-profile role led to a relapse in his drinking, and he pulled out of the planned solo film he was due to write, direct, and star in. But he says his experiences doing reshoots for Zack Snyder's Justice League, as well as his time on The Flash, have put a really nice finish on my experience with that character. Then he says, but this is how I have never said this. So now you have to interpret it from what he's actually saying here. He's basically saying, he's like, and I've never said this. This is hot off the presses. But maybe my favorite scenes in terms of Batman and the interpretation of Batman that I've done were in the Flash movie. And he says, I hope that they maintain the integrity of what we did because I thought it was great and really interesting and or indifferent, but not in a way that's incongruent with the character. All right. Who knows? Maybe they will decide that it doesn't work. But when I went and I did it, it was really fun and really, really satisfying and encouraging. And I thought, wow, I think I finally figured it out. So what does that tell you right there? Right? What does that tell you right there? It's like, oh yeah, no, they've figured it out. Like finally, after all this time, after he finally was able to get the handle on Batman that he wanted, and it was a nice way to exit the role. Essentially, is what he's trying to say.
But they're interpreting that as, oh, they finally figured it out, so that means the fresh start for Batfleck.
No, they finally. It's like they finally figured it out, guys. He's not gonna die.
He's not gonna be Batfleck. He's not gonna be the Batfleck we know from both Zack and Snyder. He's gonna be a new one.
You know what I
the one
find
that
funny
Muschietti makes. Muschiett's gonna make a new one.
They get mad when when you call them Snyder cultists, but then like they're literally like, if you're not with us, you're against us. It's like,
yeah,
that's do you know what a cult is?
It's like, this is what we know. We kind of been arguing against for the last year in regards to, let's say, January 6th, which is why I think there's a really nice connection, a really nice kind of you can kind of look at what happened a year ago and go, maybe overthinking this shit might be a problem. But there's another part of the interview that I think is nice here because it talks a bit about his life now. And he says, really, I have found that life has gotten simpler for me in a sense. You figure out what's important to you and in what order. So it's my kids, my relationship, and my work. And you figure out what kind of person you can live with and you can respect, because the only root of self-esteem is actually esteeming the self, which means doing the estimable things. That means not hurting people, not lying, having integrity, being able to be relied on and being honest, having the capacity to make a genuine apology when you make a mistake so you can repair the rupture that you have created, and helping other people, being available to love and be present for others in a selfless way. And I think that's the goal and what I aspire to. Some days I do better than others. I just made it up right there. I may revise it later. But would a person who is planning on coming back, because again, if this is just negotiating in the trades, if this is negotiating in everything else, is this not that would go against what he's saying right here, because he would effectively be lying to his fans who are emotionally connected to the character of Bruce Wayne and or Batman. He's on the recovery. He's not going to lie to people.
Look at the language he's using. Finished. I have finished this character, right? He's the word finish. He said he's done IP movies. He says something like this. Again, these are not the statements of someone who's clearly ready to come back and be Batman again.
No, and it's not. And then, but some people have said, "Oh, all they're waiting for now is for Zack to call." Have you heard that? All right,
Yeah.
There's been people out there pushing that copium.
Yes, because Ben said that Zack called him up and he did return. Yeah.
Well, here's an actual thing. This is Zack Snyder talking about getting Ben back. And he says, I called them up and I basically was like, listen, bro, I've been talking to Jared and I have this idea for a scene. And I just think I think it'd be cool to see. He was busy and was traveling around, but he didn't really hesitate. He was like, yeah, bud, for you, I'll do it. And that's great. That's awesome. But this doesn't mean that all Zack has to do is give a call. And, it's, I'm just saying at that point, you don't, it doesn't mean he's coming back. It just means Zack was able to get him at this time to finish up this project that he'd already had that failed connection to. And that's kind of where a lot of this lies, I think, with a lot of people, is just I think a lot of people are getting sick and tired of the being told that something is going to happen, that literally everyone else is nah, we're good.
Well, that's the thing too. It's what I mentioned earlier. It's people have been saying for months and months on end, you don't speak for Zack, you don't speak for Affleck. They're grown men. They're going to tell you this and that. It's okay, Ben says he's done, but some people.
I'm not going to take Ben's words correctly.
Yeah, but some people are going to fight and misconstrue his words and take them out of context to fit their own narratives. But that's going to be oh, he's clearly lying. So again, which is it? Do you want to believe the people involved at their word, or do you not?
It's funny enough, last night I tweeted out, can people stop, sorry to burst your bubbles and stuff, but can we please stop with this whole hashtag, make that Affleck movie or whatever the heck that hashtag was, because he's not coming back. And then tonight, Ben just said, yeah, I'm not coming back. So I'm it's not gonna get to them. at all until it may not even get to them when they see the movie. When even in the movie, he may be chopped into pieces or whatever happens, and like he may have like the most brutal death ever, where he's like becomes non-existent anymore, and have the most emotional funeral, and then they'll be like, oh no, he can still come back.
There's going to be
like
the big climax of the movie is like they're going to try, there's some kind of time rift that's been created, and they, in the universe, and they have to stop it. But like in order to do that, somebody has to go into it and sacrifice themselves. And they're like, but this means that this version of Batman can never exist again. And he'll go, yes, that's what it means. All right, bye. And then he goes into the thing and then winks at the camera as he goes, and then they'll still be like, "No, nope, he's coming back.
Nope, he's coming back."
Well, it's like you're telling me there's a chance.
Yeah, exactly. So you're telling me there's a chance.
Yeah, I saw that GIF pop up tonight too.
It's like be literally like have like the villain of the movie literally chop his head off and like do something really brutal, or have like the most weird death, and like where they set in the scene, he's never coming back again. And then they have like Dane said before,
Ben Affleck's Batman could literally be crucified on a cross.
Exactly.
So the Flash could go back in time and save reality.
Oh, they would beat off to that.
But when he gets crucified, he gets erased, like Dane said, and he doesn't exist anymore. And they'd be still like, well, he can still come back. All Zach has to do is call him.
They're literally like, other versions of Batman can exist, but this specific version of Batman can't exist anymore. Yeah. No. What's going to be funny? And as a matter of fact, I might go ahead and call this now, and we can see if I'm right. Maybe Batfleck actually sacrifices himself like for the movie. Not literally like I was talking about, but maybe that's how he goes out, is he like sacrifices himself, and that's the only way that they're able to win the day in the end, right? And they're still going to be like, they're still going to want him to come back, even though it's like that completely destroys the whole point of him dying in the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I was going to mention, Dane, do you know what the original plan was for Zach's vision with the 5-movie arc?
Something about he was supposed to die at one point.
He was supposed to sacrifice himself so that way the heroes could defeat Darkseid, just like in Final Crisis. That was the plan. So it would not shock me if if Andy Muschietti was like, Ben Affleck's Batman dying to save the multiverse and save all reality.
Martian Manhunter. It wasn't really, or was it Elongated Man? It was Elongated Man or Plastic Man disguised as Batfleck, so he can be chopped into pieces and come reform it. But so he's gonna come back. He's gonna come back.
Well, again, my point being though is that I would not be surprised if they took that idea and put it in this Flash movie to like kind of honor that original plan and give him the exit that he desires.
Well, I mean, we don't know what his plan is yet, and that's the other side of that too.
That's true. And that's just me speculating. That's me.
Well, no, and that's that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. It's the definitive side of things that's the problem, and that's where, as I put out a video earlier today, a bit of a rant where it's like, you know what, I said scoopers ruin everything. They've ruined movies. They've what it is. I heard William on, I think it was your stream actually, because it auto played for me today, RJ, the one about the DCEU from 2013 to 2022.
Oh,
and
the Rest in Peace one with Spider-Man.
Yeah, and yeah, that was pretty funny. But William made a great point, and I rarely ever say William made a good. No, I like William, but he said there, he's like the scoopers have dictated the conversation. They've dictated the narrative.
Yeah,
and
correct.
And he's right. He's 100% correct there. And it's like, if you really look at it, we make fun of Doomcock, but Doomcock is an influential person. Doomcock has got 300,000 subs. His videos frequently get over 150,000 views of him spewing outright nonsense. Mike Zero literally just creates buckets upon buckets of fake shit every single day and puts it out there, and people believe him. It was so bad with Mike Zero that leading up to the Rise of Skywalker, his leaks were being reported in the metro.co.uk. Doomcock's bullshit has been reported in We Got This Covered and other outlets like that, and they've run with it. And then you get people that, again, like those guys are so full of shit, but just think about the narrative that they control. And then look at Grace popping up the other day and then people believing her, other people not believing her. And it was constantly dictating the conversation. And it's, again, in the last couple of years, we've seen this massive proliferation of this because studio, you know, a lot of stuff is shut down. There hasn't been a lot coming out. People have been wanting to know what's going on. And it's the people like Daniel RPK that sell it from behind a fucking paywall or put a membership point on that shit, which I'm not a fan of. Is what they've done is they've found a way to effectively weaponize their audience against anyone who's a non-believer. And that's where we find ourselves. And I'm not even making that up. Like, it's really like that, where people out there, they want to believe so desperately that they're willing to give their money, and that's fine. Spend it how you want it. But they don't look at it as being for entertainment only. Like they fervently believe that this shit's going to fucking happen because people on the internet told them that it's going to fucking happen. And I don't know. Like, I feel like the discourse is gone. I feel like the conversation is gone. And I feel like, again, it boils down to like, you know, what do I see when I look on Facebook or I look on Google News? It's like giant freaking robot. We got this covered. Bounding into comics, cosmic book news. These websites that sell you on fake narratives constantly are what's being spread around. And the reason why is because they're not beaten down enough in the algorithm for having reported fake or misleading information. And because no one's going to give a shit about the entertainment space, you know, like no one's going to give a shit about the entertainment space on this front, because you know what? It's not like COVID misinformation or election misinformation, but those of us who love to talk about this, we then have to deal with those people that are so caught up in their own personal narrative that they never stop to realize that maybe they're just being told a story. That's my take on that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess wonder, like, do these people just like, maybe a lot of them don't have anything else in their lives kind of thing. And so like, they just have to latch onto this as any kind of, I don't know, maybe that's getting a little too psychological about it. But
hope is a powerful drug. It's a
Cope.
powerful
cope. Yeah.
Cope is a powerful drug.
Is it cope or hope?
It's cope.
And it's kind of both.
I think at this point it's more coping than hoping. I think it started off as hope. I think it started off as an idea because, you know, people were told for years, the Snyder Cut will never fucking happen. And then it's like, well, no, hold on. The Snyder Cut, like, it can happen because it's tangible. It's been filmed. All right. Like, that's a reality there. And then it happens. And then like, but we are going to get everything we want because people who we don't know on the internet are telling us we're going to get. Cultured Nerd putting out there before the movie came out, Affleck signed on to do all this stuff. Never fucking true. You know, Affleck's going to get his own HBO Max series. Affleck's going to be in fucking Batgirl. At this point, we can effectively call that bullshit.
Well, I was going to say, even with the Batgirl thing, it was a moving of the goalposts. First it was, Michael Keaton's not in that movie. Don't worry, guys. It's actually Ben Affleck. To now, well, Michael Keaton is in the movie, but it's going to have both Batman in it. So now it's like,
oh, okay.
It's like, okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
I believe you. You really
one thing I saw,
one side of the comic book movie.
One thing I saw today was people saying like, well, he said that, you know, yeah, he said that he wouldn't come back before too, and he did, and it's like, okay, well, he came back for like a couple of days of reshoots or whatever,
as a favor to Zach and a thank you.
But at the same time, he also said he was going to be writing, directing, and starring in his own Batman movies, and that isn't happening. So, like, you know, at least supply your standards consistently, because, you know, you can take any random example from the past and go, well, this happened. It's like, okay, well, what about the other times that he said something was going to happen and it didn't happen?
Well, that's kind of the whole point, is like, you know, there were things that I think were planned out that ultimately just failed to come to fruition. And that is Hollywood. That is Hollywood here. But what I feel like looking at, you know, some of the stuff is that there's a transgression in regards to, like, you know, stuff that people like, it's kind of like on a, like the pendulum has kind of come back where it's like, now it's, oh no, and everything is on the table because, hey, listen, in April, David Zaslav is going to be in charge of, you know, Warner Discovery. And the first thing he's going to want to do is sign like 46 executive decisions in one day in order to like bring back the Snyderverse. And it's like, for one, no, that's not going to happen. Like, it's just not going to happen. And my biggest complaint, or my biggest fear, I should say, are people who are getting themselves set up for disappointment. And that is my thing, is I think I really feel like, you know, it's kind of going that way, especially now with like the CW being up for sale, because Warner Brothers makes more money on streaming deals with the shows. Did you know that the CW has never once been profitable in 15 years?
Wow.
Never once. Never once been profitable, but they make their money on the streaming deals that came off of those shows, especially the Warner Brothers stuff.
Yeah.
Like Supernatural and all the Arrowverse stuff. That's where they made their money. So wouldn't it be better for them to sell off their stake
That's
in
a
this
no-brainer.
network? Yeah, and then just reinvest that back into streaming. I mean, that's what they're going to do because that's where the money is going forward. And so is it going to be DC? Sure. Is it going to be Berlanti DC? Sadly, most likely. Sadly,
I wasn't going to go there, but I was almost said a minute ago, like, well, you'd think they would have turned a profit with all the corners they fucking cut on those shows.
Oh yeah, I know. I've honestly thought about moving to Vancouver. For one, because I'm a first generation Canadian, so like I can apply for dual citizenship because my mom was born there, and then just take my children and go north,
Yeah.
and move to Vancouver and then be like, I'm gonna be an extra on all the CW shows. Like that's my dream now, you guys, because they film out there constantly. It's a lot of film shit going on, and more than Washington and Oregon, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
But I just kind of feel like they've, even with Supernatural, yeah, man, they did well after the fact, like home video sales. I mean, everything else. The shows don't pull in that many people, right? Like the shows don't pull in like I think the highest view count they get is like 1.5 million people watch like The Arrow or something, or maybe Riverdale or something. It doesn't pull in that many views. And that's kind of a big problem there for the network, which is why they're looking to get rid of it. What is this coming here? Oh yeah. Degrassi here says UPN. I remember when Mad TV made fun of that a long time ago and they called the UPN underpaid Negroes.
Yep.
That's what they refer to it. And it's like the way they broke it down to the joke. I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah.
I remember, when I think of you hear UPN, I'm reminded of like one of the earliest episode of Family Guy or something where they're watching Chris was watching UPN and they're like UPN or something like this.
No, what I loved was the very first episode of Clerks, the animated series.
Hell yeah.
When Randall was watching UPN and he was watching The Secret Diary of Desmond Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
That was a real fucking show. That show was great, by the way. That show was set during the Civil War. Desmond Pfeiffer, I'm not making it up, man. Like it was right at the birth of the internet, of AOL. So there's a whole episode where like they start, like Abraham Lincoln and Grant start using the telegram to communicate with chicks. Right. And so like Abraham Lincoln's like, oh man, like, I don't know. I got on a late night call on a telegram and I met this woman from like Montana and she's coming out and I don't, because him and Mary had been having all these marital problems. So he's just kind of like looking off to like what else could be sort of thing. He's like, I don't know, like, what should I do? And like, should I go meet her? Like, and he ends up going to the bar and he got catfished by his own wife, except she didn't know that it was him. She thought that it was somebody else. So she was also on the late night telegram.
Well, just to say, because I did doubt you, it was fucking real. It was a real show. So
yeah, it's a great show, man. Like, I mean, there's like a whole episode where they all get like locked, like they all end up at a hot air balloon and shot down behind enemy lines, and they have to dress and drag in order to like sneak their way out of the Confederate line to get back to DC. Like
wacky shenanigans.
It was look, Chi McBride, who I love, by the way, was played Desmond Pfeiffer, who was like a British like he was, not a noble, but he was like kind of maybe like an aristocratish type guy, but he was still kind of like working as like Abraham Lincoln's butler sort of thing. And this was just his secret diary of like what went on. And it mirrored what was happening, like the internet and like all this other shit, pop culture stuff. If you could find it, I don't think you would ever be able to find it. But the fact that Kevin Smith referenced that in Clerks makes that one of my top all-time animated shows. I love it. Jess here says, yes, I watched Desmond. Damn straight, buddy. Damn straight. All right, but before we move on, is there anything more to say about this? Ben Affleck coming back? No.
Yeah, he's coming back, and he's back and better than anyone ever thought.
I would just say that, Matt, I watched your Scooper video earlier. I think you had some really great points. And I would say overall, just be careful who you listen to. No, listen, I understand wanting to have hope. I understand wanting to believe something that you love can come back. There's a lot of emotions involved in this. All I would ask was, I just really, really hope that people leave their emotions at the door and understand this is really, I feel like, the crux of what we've been trying to say for months on end now. Stop letting these people manipulate you, please, because they are doing harm to you, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that.
If they're right, then I'd let it be proven wrong. But right now, it seems like a lot of people are manipulating others right now.
Yeah, it's getting to be like distinct vibes. And I'm not even just saying this to be like controversial or anything. Like, I legit kind of get vibes of, oh, well, Trump's going to be put back in office next month. That was like a thing throughout 2020 after the election was like, oh, it's a March something or another. He's going to be reinstated. And, it's like starting to get to that point where it's like, all right, man, I don't know where you're getting this shit. So yeah, QAnon vibes for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty funny how it's going that way. Now, I want to bring up an example of this, and I'm not making any direct accusations, but I want to make an example out of this. And I brought this up on Max's show, and I wanted to bring it up here because I think that when it comes to these sort of things with who you listen to, there's an integrity factor that ties into this. And I think integrity matters. And I think if you're going to be a journalist, you gotta fucking walk the walk. And that's one of the things, because again, a lot of people really do like Mikey Sutton. I know Mikey personally. I don't think he's a bad guy, but I think he's in this game. And I don't know how much of that I believe is legitimate anymore, to be fair. I think after yesterday going on Midnight's Edge, that was it for me. That was it for me. That was a straw.
Well, that
was the absolute straw.
That's what I feel like people aren't realizing. Mikey has come on your show, Matt, and I think you can attest to this. He has openly mocked Midnight's Edge. He has dropped scoops on your show to go against Midnight's Edge and their agenda, what they push, along with Doomcock and Cameron Pasha. Now all of a sudden he's going to cozy up to those people. It's just very bizarre to me.
Well,
someone did do like a little documentary, he said, and it seemed like a bunch of fanfic.
Some of that stuff is, some of the stuff did feel that way to me as well. But again, that's what he said on there. But again, you're right. But RJ is more correct at this point. The fact that he goes on there and he buddies up to these people, that he's come over here and he's openly bashed, and in more ways than one that I won't reveal the full details of. I'm just saying, it's like that to me was it. They push fake news. That they lie to their audience, and you go on there and you have no problem palling around for hours on end. And I'm not trying to gatekeep who you can talk to, but it is an integrity factor, which is what brings me to this right here. Okay. There's an article here he put out just January 3rd, a couple days ago, talking about Henry Cavill, happy to play Superman again. We all know he wants to. Okay. But in this article, he does mention here that the Hollywood Reporter acknowledged that Man of Steel 2 is in development. Now, this caught my attention because I'm like, wait a minute here. I know nothing about Man of Steel 2 being in development, especially coming out of the Hollywood Reporter. That seems to me like it's big news. All right, well, if you click on that, it takes you to this article right here, which is Man of Steel 2 and Works with Henry Cavill returning, which was written on July 23rd. All right, again, seems a little bit odd that this is not something I would have remembered going into the summer and everything else. So you kind of scroll through the interview here, or the article here, and he's talking about some stuff and, brings up this particular line. Where is that at? Okay, here we go. So in an interview with Man of Steel screenwriter David S. Goyer, the Hollywood Reporter reveals that a sequel may be in the works with Cavill on board. Moreover, Goyer agreed and stated, "I think so." And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Goyer saying that. Okay, cool. What does that mean? Well, here, let's look at the actual quote. And this is what the Hollywood Reporter actually asked David Goyer. Henry Cavill and others have advocated for a direct sequel to Man of Steel. I have heard rumors a sequel may be in the works with Cavill on board. Warner Brothers says none is in development. Does it feel like there is still unfinished business with that story? To which case he responds, I think so. So this is inaccurate. This is inaccurate.
Not only isn't it inaccurate, it's purposely manipulating a quote to fit a headline.
Yeah, actually it kind of is, because for that headline to be like that, this has to be true. And it's not true. That's not what was said. That's not in any way what was said. And this is what we talk about when we talk about integrity. Now, this could just be a mix-up. It could just be, oopsie, I misinterpreted. And you know what? That's fine. That's fine. Those mistakes happen. But again, this is an article that's being used to feed another article that's trying
just
to
a couple days ago. Yeah.
a couple days ago that's trying to validate. And I don't know when this article might have been used again. It might have been linked again to other ones as well as a way to feed back to it. But it is being written, presented as something that it is not. And so there needs to be that correction. Now, will there be that correction? I don't know. I have mentioned this privately. No correction has been made. I'm like, you know what? After yesterday, like, no, man, like, no, you gotta, if you want people to believe you, you gotta hold people's feet to the fire in order to be legitimate. That's how I view it. And you know what? Maybe I'm militant on it at this point, but you know what? With Gamergate, I was an ethics for journalism person. And I've always stood by that because it was so much misinformation, so much purposeful, look what we just did with the whole Sill thing. Sill cuts off a piece of the article that would kind of disprove the point that he's trying to make. Like that kind of disingenuousness leading into, oh, by the way, come watch my live stream tomorrow. And we might put this, we might drop some scoops behind a paywall later. Pay me, pay me, pay me, pay me, pay me. That's what I'm talking about. That's my frustration. And you know what? That's where it's at. And I don't think, you know what? Like, I don't hate anybody. I don't hate anybody, but it's like, you know what? We've been dealing with this kind of shit now for years.
This is how misinformation spreads. And again, this is why there are issues in this fandom, because they are listening and listen. I'm not for sure if it's really ill intent or just ignorance. I'm not for sure which is it, but again, it just gets a little suspicious, and I do wonder if it's putting business ahead of journalistic integrity.
And that's a valid concern. And I know there's other people associated with their team that may not view it that way. And I'm not trying to throw them under the bus, but your name is associated with this. And this is the kind of stuff you get attacked for. And if you don't want, this is where you have to dot your T's and cross your I's. You know what I mean? Like, you have to do it.
Well, that's kind of the thing that I think the reason that you're kind of finding yourself reliving your feelings about the Gamergate days, Matt, is that there is no journalistic integrity anymore. At least when it comes to, I mean, not really in general in the day of social media, because even like the most quote unquote the sources with the most integrity will still spin a headline or spin, but like, for the most part, there are a lot of of course they're often just dismissed as mainstream news, and like, but in a lot of cases they may not be exciting, they may report shit that you don't like to hear, but they're mostly sticking to the facts at hand. But then you've got this whole subculture of the sub industry of what we do. We're part of it, so I'm part of this myself. It's not like I'm criticizing the culture and the industry itself, but I mean, there's this lack of concern for this type of thing, where it's just more like, I know what my audience wants to hear or read, so I'm going to give them exactly that. And does that come from a place of, I know this will equal more money, or does it come from a place of I'm just as passionate as my audience and I'm not paying close attention? I don't know.
Well, that's where my concern comes too, though. And like I said, I'm not trying to throw shade to anybody. I'm just saying, I just came off another stream where, Matt, you brought this point up. And it feels like certain people, not only on the panel, not everybody, just Max, really. Max kind of brushed it off a little bit, but also the chat was just like, well, expectations, or who cares? It's like, well, if you don't care that you're being lied to, I mean, why are we even having this conversation at this point?
Well, and that's what I say to people who watch Doomcock and Mike Zero. You're being lied to, and a lot of them do. And when pressed on it, a lot of them will just go, well, it's entertainment. Like when I saw somebody at VidCon in 2018 wearing a Soilo t-shirt. It was a 45-year-old man there with his wife and his 3 children wearing a Soilo t-shirt at VidCon. I'm not making that up, Dane.
What? I don't know what Soilo is.
Oh, sorry. Soilo was what Ethan Van Sciver was calling Solo, a Star Wars story. Back then. And he was selling t-shirts, right? Well, I ended up getting into a conversation with this guy, and I fucking pressed him on it. Because I'm a Star Wars. I love Star Wars, and I love Solo, and like, it wasn't woke, it wasn't the fuck ever. And I pressed him on it, and eventually, like, I kind of backed him in a corner, as I'm stubborn and I might be a bit hot-headed. I'll fully admit that, but I kind of get this guy, to not have an answer, and his wife just steps in and goes, "Look, it's all entertainment." Yeah, and I said, for you.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like to me, and I'm wondering what the Venn diagram is of these people that consume media like this and just, are like, oh, it's just, I know it's bullshit, but it's entertainment. I wonder what the Venn diagram is with people who are, and and I'm not trying to cast judgment on people who like professional wrestling, but it sounds like they consume their media the same way that they consume their professional wrestling. Where, you know, I've talked to lots of people that I've known who are like, yeah, I know it's fake, but man, you know, they get super into the story. They still want their guy to win, even though they know that it's all a rigged outcome. You know what I mean? And it's like, kind of, I feel like there's some overlap there in how they're consuming this media. That's just,
yeah. Well, it's
I'll
like, is
figure out.
it about integrity, or is it about, you know, like money? And like, look, I could make a lot more money if I was still doing the old anti SJW content and shit, right? If I
You were
was
the
still
best.
out there, you know, I could easily, you know, and it's still a very profitable racket. Look at the quartering, look at Geeks and Gamers, look at Nerderotic. You know, I mean, look, I'll show you guys this. I actually just happened to come across this while we were getting everything prepped up for today, to give you an idea of just what kind of piece of shit this motherfucker is. But he put this out today. Happy January 6th. You know, like where our democracy was attacked and our, you know, people died. And what I love here at the very bottom of this is Echo Base Network, who is another YouTuber here on YouTube, saying, Happy Insurrection Day, Gary. Now, these guys, you might recall, if you've ever read the Rewriting Ripley article.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the guys from this, one of the two guys, Coach, was on Parlor championing on the insurrection. They hate when I remind them of that, by the way. They really hate when I remind them of that. But that's who these people are at their core. That's who these people are at their core. Degenerate,
Didn't you guys
disgusting
say
individuals.
That, like two months ago, I believe, like in November, like late November, like one of them came. I think Echo came in, and you're like, "Oh, how's your insurrection buddy?" And he's like, "What?"
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, they
in-
really.
they're
In
like,
the
"What?"
future, if any of these guys ever fucking say like Blue Lives Matter or whatever, be like, oh, you
Oh
mean
my
except
God.
the ones that they, you know, they beat the shit out of with flagpoles at the Capitol.
Exactly.
Or the ones they pinned in doorways, the one that they
Yeah.
beat with fire extinguishers. That guy went to jail for a while. The one who beat a cop with a fire extinguisher, you know, a lot of stuff there happened that day. A lot of people downplaying that today. And again, I personally believe it all kind of ties together. And that's why, you know, I'm passionate over what happened a year ago, because I think it's absolutely fucked up.
Disgusting.
I'm passionate over integrity in journalism. I try to be as full of integrity as I can. Yeah, we all make mistakes. If I fuck up, you guys tell me, I'll do my best to fix it 100%. But I think we need to hold other people accountable to it. And I'm tired of this. Well, no, fuck that shit. If you're going to be in a space like this, like we do Chud Watch to laugh and hold people to account. That's why Chud Watch is when we do it. We haven't done it in a bit, but it's like to laugh at them and then to point out the bad information that they spew. That's why. And I think that's important. And sure, like some areas are more important than others. I think, like, you know, I know, Dane, you just kind of decided to move on from Comicsgate because they've largely kind of been this like debunked.
Yeah.
Or
Well, I mean, they're just they can't. I mean, and I was going to say this a minute ago, but like as far as Geeks and Gamers, I've looked at a lot of those larger channel social blades last week and stuff, and like it seems to me that all of the anti-SJW stuff is on a downward trend, just based on where it was a couple. Like none of them have hit the heights that they hit for Captain Marvel. I think The Last of Us 2 was the last one that they really hit any kind of peaks on, and they're constantly still trying. And like I said, like in a video a week or two ago, like the Marvels, Captain Marvel 2 is going to be a big test of whether or not they can ever regain any semblance of that again. But basically, I feel like if the Marvels comes out with its Black and Muslim and Brie Larson characters, and they're not able to hit those peaks again, that's pretty much done for. That's why I consider this shit dead, because the brand saturation, as far as what kind of content they do, everybody knows what it is. You're either, you know, are cool with it and you watch it, or you've gotten tired of it and moved on, or you don't care about it because you're, you know, a sane person. And so like, I just don't think that they can grow anymore to any substantive degree. But especially Comicsgate, with how many projects that they've been, you know, late on, that they don't get out at all. Just how clear it's become that they're hateful fucking bigots. And I just think it's effectively, it's like, you know, when I say it's dead, it's like if a movement, which a movement's designed, or the intent of a movement is to grow, if a movement can no longer grow, it's effectively dead. And that's how I see Comicsgate. But
so are you saying that we should rename this whole side of the fandom to just Snydergate?
I
mean, like, I mean, yeah,
You really
maybe.
add gate to it though. I mean, Q.
No, I don't want to add a gate to it. I lived through Gamergate. Trust me, I don't want to. I don't add gates to shit if I don't have to.
It's kind of.
I remember Pizzagate before it was Pizzagate.
At least with I mean, not at least. I'm not defending them, but like it's trickier with the Snyder thing because they did get something that they were passionate and angry about for a long time. They did get the Snyder cut technically.
Yeah.
Whereas like you said, it goes back to it was already pretty much made and it wasn't a big investment for them to make it happen in the right conditions. But still, the difference is like with anti-SJW shit, it's like Brie Larson, Captain Marvel went on to make $1 billion when they said it was going to be broke. And The Last Jedi made $1 billion and The Last of Us 2 was great selling. You know what I mean? So like pretty much everything that they've said that, was turned out to be false. Whereas, it to credit the Snyder guys, Snyder cut happened. So.
Yeah, and again, I mean, no one can take that away.
Well, no, I mean, it's an insurmountable victory for them. I mean, that's something that, again, nobody thought that movie existed. The media and even the studio itself said it's not happening. Circumstances obviously changed to allow it to happen, but still, like, they held on for, 4 years, and they got it. Yeah, it's historic for a reason. I mean, that's not something you can take away.
Yeah,
but they can't accept that win, that giant win. They can't just stop and go, look, guys, we fucking did it. Hell yeah. Let's just sit here and watch our fucking long ass, mostly amazing movie. And that's my opinion on it. But they can't do it. They got to have more. And they didn't learn the lessons that you mentioned as far as like the conditions were right with the pandemic and stuff. They don't apply any of those factors to their logic. They just think we made this happen. We can make this happen again. Damn all the context, damn any nuance. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing too, is I've come across not one, but 2 GoFundMe's today from the Snyder fandom pushing to pull in money. One of them was from that Geralt of Snyderverse guy who I guess this was like last year. He was trying to raise like $2,100 and like $2,140 or something to like pay influencers to get them to tweet about Restore the Snyderverse. But he didn't really specify what it was. He just said the next promotional campaign without indicating what the promotional campaign was. And then there's another guy who put out a GoFundMe that's raised a little bit more money than what Geralt got. That's all about trying to like rent those trucks with like the LED billboards on the side, those billboard trucks to drive around at conventions and shit, to like get that to have Restore the Snyderverse and whatnot. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is this where it's at now? Is like, you just looking.
It's becoming a grift. It's at this point there. It's kind of like with Comicsgate and stuff, where it's like maybe there were some semblances of valid complaints and feelings of alienation early on in like Comicsgate, like there was with Gamergate. But then come the grifters, right? And like a lot of people will eventually. I'm sure there's a lot of Snyder people and just like Comicsgate who eventually were like, you know what? This is bullshit. I'm not going to be part of this anymore. Even if they maintained those feelings, they kind of just stepped away from it. But then you've got these people that come in and they see, oh, there's all these passionate people and they spend all this time online. They're basically already an army that I just need to point them at something. And they also open their wallets. And that's where you get your Ethan Van Sciver. And that's where you get, I'm not familiar with the Snyder figures, but I'm sure that you guys can name some, and yeah, the grifters come in like vultures. And that's where we're at, is we're just going to see a whole shitload of, release the Snyder grift.
Well, I mean, we are seeing a group of people that are doing another motion comic attempt at it. And
I hope it goes well.
And it is without the influence of the bad actors from the last time. So that part's pretty good. We'll just have to wait to see how the whole thing kind of plays out. There's obviously going to be a lot of people that are going to be attempting to like either write their own, like, I don't know, maybe write their own book. That's going to be, here's my interpretation of what Justice League 2 and 3 could be. I don't fucking know. It's very, very ridiculous, how some of these people really end up operating in regards to, how they do things online. But yeah, I think also the fact that we, with YouTube in general, we are currently in an ad revenue slump. Like January is the worst because it's a new year, and so a lot of people are going to be like either pushing really heavily this month to get what they can. And that's going to, continue angering people unfortunately. But I will say this though, I do want to point this out. Dane put out a video today about Superman's socialist origins, and I caught the premiere of it, thankfully, as I was driving down to my dad's house. Super good. Like, you guys should go and check that out. It is super, super, super good. It gives you a good history of the character, of its origins, and what happened to its creators, and how they were woefully fucked over by DC. And so, that's the kind of content that I feel is going to live on a lot more than just like, oh my God, the SJWs, you got, that kind of stupid shit. So yeah, check out Dane's video on that, and you'll be good. So, all right, there are a couple super chats to get to here. And let's see here. Gaily for $4 said, love to come on and speak for a little bit. Don't know if we're going to get to that tonight, man, but thank you. I know you did send some topics. I do appreciate that. I did see those on the email. Again, this whole thing kind of came together last minute, so I do appreciate you sending me some stuff to talk about. I'll see what I can get to tonight, or maybe I'll hold it for tomorrow. But thank you. RPK for $5 says, fellas, Ben and Zach have to literally pass away in real life before this cult will believe that they're not coming back for Justice League 2, sort of like Trump. I mean, I don't think you're wrong, RPK, if I'm being fair. I don't think you're really that wrong.
At that point, like Zack Snyder's son or something they'll be like, his son's gonna do it or whatever. I don't know.
Son of Snyder is gonna bring us the son of Batman and Superman. That's also with Lois. And
yeah. So
I'm
sorry, you read your super chats. I was gonna ask a question, but.
Oh, okay. No, but I kind of agree with RBK on this one. H Barts with $5, buddy. Thank you. Says, thoughts on small screen saying Cavill is in negotiations. I don't know, man. Like, I read the article.
Listen. Cavill's more likely than Ben at this point. We truly don't know. I'd love for him to come back. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing about small screen. From what I understand, they have a lot of scoops out in the air that have never been confirmed yet. So no one really knows how valid of a place they are for information. So we're all
but they are tied to Mikey, and they are tied to Mikey and Syl, and they're part of that group. So, they'll back each other up, which is fine. I will say the only scoop I've read from small screen that I really, really want to come true is Mindhunter season 3, which they said was happening. And I want Mindhunter. I saw like Jonathan Groff during the press for the Matrix Resurrections was like, hey, if David Fincher says come back, we'll come back in a heartbeat. It's like, you're fucking right, you will.
Yeah.
God damn it. That's one of I love that show. But I don't know, man. I don't know look, I've said this even the other night. If Cavill is to come back, the likelihood of it being a new contract with New Line would be more probable than a contract with Warner Brothers. Mm-hmm. And the thing with
that's fine, by the way. That's fine.
And that's fine. And again, like, The Rock produced Shazam. The Rock is producing Black Adam. $7 production. They're doing DC League of Super Pets. I don't fucking know why. Obviously, like, they've got their foothold in this universe into a pocket of it. And The Rock's been hyping up Superman, and maybe they'll come to an agreement. I know that The Witcher season 3 has been greenlit. I don't know when they start filming it. Argyle has already been filmed. Enola Holmes 2 has already been filmed. Henry Cavill is a busy fucking guy. So I don't know when they're going to be able to find the time to slip it in there. But if it's just a cameo or a couple weeks on set or whatever, that could be something that might be a bit more manageable. And again, I'm all for it. But for Ben, I just don't see Ben coming back. I think he's been pretty adamantly clear on that. But again, if they turn out to be right, cool. I'm just not, at this point, I just have zero faith in any report that comes out. If it happens, it happens. But that's it. Rational here with $5. Thank you, man. Says, your opinion on all the Scoop Game drama with KC Walsh and My Time to Shine calling out Mikey and Syl. Look, Casey Walsh is what I would call a passionate fella.
Yes, he's very passionate about Snyder and Snyder fans. Yes. Yeah,
he's not a fan. But I think his beef is more with Syl than with Mikey. To be honest with you,
it seems that way. Yes,
it seems that.
Well, My Time to Shine. Hello, This is according to Rational Skeptic, who messaged me about this. And
I can't find her saying anything about this. I went looking. So
I think it might be on Reddit. Supposedly, she said that Mikey stole one of her scoops and claimed it as his own. I believe it's the drama between those two.
I don't. Okay, see that much. I don't know. And I don't know. I don't know. I haven't looked into that at all. I have no thoughts on that one. I mean, look, Daniel RPK, I'm pretty sure stole a scoop from Andy's Ignore. So, that's my opinion on it. I don't know. I do not know. HBR is here for $2. Says still puts Mikey's free scoops behind a paywall. Yeah, and that's a complaint that I've had. But then Sil tried to justify that by saying that they put it behind a paywall, but only then when Mikey's ready for it to go out into the public do they release the videos. I'm like, whatever, man. Like, that's still bullshit in my mind. You know, that's trying to justify the action. You know, well, we're gonna hold back on this and not make it public for right now, but then later on it's gonna be public. It's the same bullshit. You know here's what they're hoping. They're hoping that somebody from like Comic Book Resources or whatever ends up becoming a channel member, hearing the scoop, doing an article about it, which is going to bring a lot of attention to the YouTube channel, and not the website, but the YouTube channel, and then bring more people in to get that kind of information, because that's what they're doing. And I'm not a fan of it, to be honest with you. And I know I'm not the only one. RPK here for $5, man. Thank you. Says, I said it the other day, Jarbo, until some nutty January 6th shit type happens, Zach won't say anything and this nonsense will continue. Yeah, I know. And the thing is, I don't ever want Zach to be in a position to where he has to come out and denounce something like that. You know, I mean, him just saying it's not going to happen would be great, because I think that's where we are. But I don't want him to ever be in a situation where it's like someone wearing a Zack Snyder Justice League shirt walks into another Asian massage parlor. That's the last thing you want. And I don't want that on him, because imagine how he would feel. But it's you're not going to be able to control people, so you really shouldn't try, I guess. Thank you, though. And then Skywalker Brian here for $5 more. Thanks, buddy. Says, different side note, does the gaming industry really need E3 anymore, despite the indie devs needing the bigger guys, or is it becoming irrelevant? Well, I've been to E3 a lot, and I can tell you flat out, fuck E3. That shit is so stupid now. Back when I first went to E3, Dane, I went in 2000. I was 18, and I took the day off of high school because I wanted to go meet Bruce Campbell, because he was there promoting the Evil Dead game for the Dreamcast. And when I went, it was a lot of fun, but I could actually play games. The last time I went to E3 was in 2013. And I think I was there for a day, and most of everything was behind. It was a line. You watched an 8-minute presentation. You know, I waited for an hour and a half to watch 8 minutes of Batman Arkham Origins. You know, I watched I was in the last group for Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. That was pretty cool, because I got an Assassin's Creed Black Flag t-shirt that I've been wearing now for approximately 9 years. You know, it's part of and I like the shirt. Still fits me. So I mean, E3 was fun, but nowadays it's you don't need it. You don't need it. Just you know what? Put up your presentation online. Show us actual gameplay. Fuck this pre-rendered bullshit. You know,
yeah.
We're so far beyond the Killzone 2 cinematic reveal from fucking E3. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, last year's digital-only E3 was interesting. I hope this one's better. I mean, did you actually hear what the rumor is, though? The rumors that E3 is using the COVID thing as an excuse. They never actually registered for the LA Convention Center. They had this planned out last year anyway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that they were going to go digital only anyway. They're just kind of using Omicron as a reason not to really, for the public to understand why they're not doing it the normal way.
I mean, all things considered, man, all things considered, you know, if you think about it, that's actually a really solid play. You know, that's a real, it's we don't intend on doing this, but we want to save everyone a lot of fucking money. You know, we want to save everyone a lot of money, to be able to do this. And, that's kind of the whole, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that, because you know what, man, when I watch E3, you know what I hate? The fucking press conferences, right?
Some of them are good, though. Some of them are good.
I mean, look, okay, if it's an Xbox One and it's Phil Spencer, I'm happy, because I love Phil Spencer.
Sony's put on some amazing E3 press conferences.
Yeah, really, I mean, okay, I'll tell you who sucks though is Ubisoft and EA.
Well, of course they do. They're always horrible. You
know, well, I mean, but I'm a big Ubisoft fan. You know, there's that whole thing now where it's oh, Ubisoft All Access is going to be bringing 100 games to Xbox Game Pass, and I'm I might check that out for some of the games I don't have. You know, some of the Ubisoft titles, if I want to go back and play Prince of Persia games or some shit, you know, I might go back in, or maybe some of the original Rainbow Six.
You know what's funny? Last year's E3 was really mid, but you know who saved E3 last year? Nintendo. Nintendo brought the heat last year. Nintendo, sometimes Nintendo's E3s are pretty bad. Sometimes they're really, really good, though. Last year was one of those years. They really came out to show. So hoping that some of these people, because last year PlayStation didn't do anything. So hopefully PlayStation participates this year. I don't know if they will, because they are on like PlayStation Directs now, whatever they're called. So
those are boring though. Like I
yeah,
thought they'd be good,
they're
but
not
they're
as good as Nintendo's.
No, well, Nintendo gives you a little bit of like lead into it, where they're gonna like go talk to a dev and then.
Well, it's also well, it's not even that. It's lead in and personality.
Oh yeah,
personality with those Nintendo Directs.
Sony's just like, come watch us for 20 minutes, and here's these obscure Japanese titles that none of you are gonna play, and that's it. See you guys next time. And everyone's like, no, but
indie games. It's like,
yeah, it's like, I mean, here's what you need to do. This is what we need to do. We need to bully. We need to bully. I'm going to bring it. We need to bully these companies into making more demos. All right, not these betas. All right, not these fucking betas. Not to be confused with the Beta Boys podcast, which is another thing Dane does.
Yep.
But like, like back in the day when you went to like happypuppy.com and you would download a 60 megabyte demo for a game and it would take 8 hours and fucking dial up. Like back in the day when you used to get the demo discs for your PlayStation or for your Xbox and you'd have something new to play every month that would get you excited, and you can't even return games anymore. So it's like, you don't even fucking know. You don't even know if you're going to like it until like you watch somebody on Twitch play. But even then, you don't even know if you're going to like it. It's just ridiculous. I think gaming like needs a real big overhaul, to be fair. I think they need a huge overhaul with a lot of this shit and to go from there. I just see here we got that James guy with $5, man, says, I have nothing to say about Syl, but I'll come on and say hi, Matt. I appreciate that, James. I know in regards to the whole geekosity thing, I know your angle with it and whatnot. I've said my piece on that for right now. I think my concern is mostly with the other people. I have nothing against you. I like you a lot, man. So I'm just not right now. Because I think that there's stuff that needs to be addressed from the people who are actually doing the stuff. But I hope all is well with you. Hope you guys didn't get hit too hard in Canada. I'll tell you this weird thing weather-wise. 50 degrees today, pouring down rain, clashing with like a week's worth of snow and ice, and my whole valley was like misted over, like foggy, like I'm walking into fucking Mordor, and then flooded. Like everywhere was flooded. I'm like, I ain't going nowhere for like a couple more days.
The weather has been pretty wild around here.
Oh yeah, I know, man. I totally get that. I still totally get that. Where it's
I was gonna mention too. What did you hear? What just going back to the E3 thing real quick. Jeff Keighley's proud tweet said Summer Game Fest, right? Summer Game Fest last year was actually pretty decent. It kind of replaced the physical E3 event in an interesting way. So maybe they'll do that again this year. Yeah.
Oh no, man. Like I'll tell you, probably what was I said this on Twitter the other day that they need to, like, the Oscars needs to hire Jeff Keighley.
They probably should. Speaking of Oscars, though, the Golden Globes are not even going to do an event. They're just doing some private ceremony.
I know, they don't want to get mocked, right? Probably they don't want to get mocked. It's I mean, that's the thing.
Private ceremony, and then 90 minutes later they'll announce the winners on like a web page.
Yeah, and then again, everyone's just gonna watch on Twitter. That's about it. Like they just look on social media, they don't care. I mean, that's kind of the bigger factor of it, isn't it? Right? Where you look at social, like again, like I don't watch the Oscars. I just follow Twitter to see who wins. And like you got like Variety will like, or someone will clip out like the speech of whoever wins. Like, all right, it's a minute and a half. Cool. I can watch this clip and go on with my fucking day. I don't care about the presenter. I don't care about like the lead up to that shit. I don't care about the runner ups. I just want to know who the fuck wins. Also, did anyone trip? Did anyone fall? Did anyone accidentally say the N word? Or is there just crazy shit going on?
Yeah,
that joke fell dead. That's okay.
No, I think that over time, like people are just they're realizing that nobody really gives a fuck about all the pomp and circumstance shit about these types of things anymore. No,
I mean, well, like for the Oscars specifically, I worked for Mark's Garden when I lived in LA. So this is like 10 years ago, and Mark's Garden was the flower shop that supplied all the flowers for the Oscars, and they also supplied the flowers for most of the celebrities in LA, and you know what? Just like listening to them talk about the Oscars, it is such a waste of fucking money. It's just all of the Oscars all these award shows are literally just an excuse to get people together and like glad hand each other and like suck their own dicks. That's really about it. It's like, oh, I saw you in a movie. You know, like it's very weird. I'm not a fan of it at all. And they suck. You know, I'll admit when it comes to the Oscars, I'm a bit salty. Okay. I feel Blame Canada was a better song than whatever the fuck Phil Collins did for Tarzan.
It absolutely was. Yeah.
Back in 2000.
That? Who even remembers that? Nobody. Everybody remembers Blame Canada.
I can't even tell you the name of the song. I just know that he won, and I was like, fuck this, I'm done. You know, but then Trey Parker and Matt Stone did win Best Original Song for Uncle Fucker at the MTV Movie Awards.
True.
So there was some justice in the world.
Was that when they wore dresses and dropped acid?
No, that was when they were there. Maybe that was, yeah, that would have been because they would have been invited because they had been nominated.
Okay.
And I mean, you got to love Trey Parker and Matt Stone for just not giving a shit. Right. Nowadays, I feel like that kind of gender nonconformity is rather frequent at the Oscars, you know? Like if you were to see James Franco show up in like a dress, like no one, well, they would bat an eye for James Franco being there.
Specifically him, yeah. But
they're like, oh, who's your designer? You know, like you just, it could be whatever it is. I don't even know at this point. Let's see here. Reyes says Phil Collins went hard as fuck on Tarzan, nothing but bangers. I'm not saying it wasn't good. I'm just saying it wasn't South Park good. All right. It wasn't South Park good. Blame Canada.
Hey. You'll be in my heart though, Charbo. I don't know. Listen, they're both banger soundtracks. Okay?
I don't care about the soundtrack of fucking Tarzan.
Phil Collins.
All right, if it's not in the air tonight, who fucking cares? Dun 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 dun. No one cares.
What about Easy Lover?
I don't know. I probably know the song and shit like that.
You don't remember Easy Lover?
Maybe I'd have to hear it, but I know In the Air Tonight. All right. Like that's the Phil Collins track. Everyone knows that song. Yeah. Everyone knows that song, but also everyone knows Blame Canada.
True.
Does everyone really know Blame Canada though?
Do you know Blame Canada?
Yeah, but I'm a South Park fan.
How? And you're also in your early 20s.
Little heads.
Because I watched the movie when I was like 13.
Yeah. I saw it in theaters when it came out. That's how old I am. And I still walked out of that movie going like, that was the coolest shit I've ever seen. And went back again and saw it with my buddy. Loved that shit. But yeah, I mean, no, I love South Park. I love, I felt like for original content, it tossed everything. But then again, I was 17 or 8. Yeah, I wasn't just 18 yet when that Oscars, so that was in early March of 2000. And so I wasn't 18 yet. I was almost there. So I was young, I didn't get the game. I didn't understand how it all worked out. I understand that now, but still fucking Blame Canada, man. Like Uncle Fucker could have even been nominated and probably should have won.
Was there a category for best animated film when South Park came out?
I don't believe, maybe there was. I don't know.
Because I wonder if it got nominated for best animated movie, if it got nominated for best song.
Yeah, I don't know. It's maybe it did. Hold on here. James says this is all stuff I know and can talk about in depth. Have a good night. Gotta get that in. Yeah, all right. I'll see you. No, there's always good things, James. You're a smart guy. I do like talking to you, man. We'll get you on again and we'll have it be a funner topic, a more entertaining.
There's still fun stuff to talk about tonight.
No, there is actually. This one's good. This one got my blood pumping. We talked about this a little bit last night because Grace Randolph dropped the fucking scoop.
Yes, but there's an update though.
There is an update. By the way, Dane, did you hear about this with the Fallout series finally getting some information out there?
I did not. Is this true?
This is true. So last night on the show, I was talking about, I'm like, you know what, man? Like, we haven't heard about the Fallout show. Literally with like minutes later, Grace Randolph dropped an update.
Wow.
I'm like, she watches me.
You need to make some more predictions or whatever.
Why don't you you know what? If you weren't blocked, I would say reach out for an interview.
If I weren't, maybe if I ever see you again in person. Hold on. You know what we haven't seen a trailer for yet? The Last of Us television show on fucking HBO. There we go. Let's see if that prediction comes true.
Yeah.
That's still filming though.
Shh. We've learned that you don't need to finish it in order to You know,
I
in order to have a
mean,
trailer
They
or
do
something
start
ready to
season
go.
2 in like 2 weeks. So
They're
and
filming
then
season 2 already?
yeah, they're filming both seasons back to back. That's why it's such a long shoot.
That's shocking. What happens if season 1 doesn't connect though?
I think they already
No.
greenlit for 2 seasons, so they're like, so
Are the 2 seasons connected? Like, I mean,
Well,
I've seen.
it's game 1 and game 2, I think.
Are they
Yeah.
only doing the 2 shows? Or are they going to continue it afterward?
I think they're gonna
Nobody
continue afterwards.
knows.
Wait, does that mean
But-
that
but
like
that-
that Joel
but
is going to get
Joel-
yeeted like right in
Yeah.
season 2?
Yeah,
Probably.
so that means he's only gonna
Motherfucker.
film for another month, and then he goes to film Mando season 3.
Yeah, he's probably only going to be shooting season 2 for like a brief amount of time.
Man, I don't want.
Yeah.
Damn it! I want them to take like. Look, you can break the game into break the series into a couple different areas, but you know what? They're probably going to keep the show going after Joel and Ellie, and they're going to like transition to different characters and go from there.
Yeah,
Oh, after season 2?
Yeah, and that would be okay. But that'd be all right. I think that'd be okay. I don't know. Well, there's also a rumor I saw today about The Last of Us PS5 edition is nearing
Yes,
completion. It comes out later this year.
Okay, I have a question. Why are they making a remake of that game? Why does there need to be a remake? There's already a great remastered available on PS4 and PS5.
Because Sony likes money, RJ.
But you don't need a remake. The game came out like 8 years ago. 8 years ago, almost.
Well,
Remake
no,
should be reserved
9
for
years.
game-
9 years in July.
Oh yeah, 9. Yeah. Well, the only good thing about it is that they're bundling the Last of Us 2 multiplayer with it or something. The new factions mode, Factions 2.
Wait, are you fucking serious?
Yes, they're going to be released together. The remake and Factions 2 update. For
Oh my
Last of Us
god,
2.
Factions is so goddamn good.
That's the rumor, at least. That's the rumor.
I should really
Like,
play that.
yeah, it's man, Factions is fun. What I love about Factions is you should really tie it to your Facebook, because what it does is it actually like reads your friends list.
If it was on Twitter, it'd be a lot better. But yeah.
Well, I agree. Something like that. Well, because what it does is like, so you have to, you want people to live. You want to build out your faction, like your survival group, whatever. And so like, it's like, oh, this person gets sick, this person dies, and like it ends up being someone So for me, like the very first person that died was like my mom or something. I was like, well, that sucks.
God.
Well, I got to keep trying to, because the more you play, you have to hit like a threshold of points in order to like maintain things. And if you lose out on like those resources, like they'll get hungry, they'll get sick, and then they'll die. And so you got to like really kind of play it up a bit. But I'll tell you another game that did that really well was Black Ops 1. And the first Black Ops game actually had a bot mode that was pretty decent, and it allowed you to all the other players on the bots were all named after your friends list. And I was like, why doesn't more companies do this? Why don't more devs do this? It was great. Because it's not like bot 1, bot 2, bot 3. It's like, Pendejo Jones or whatever. And you're like, hey, it's fucking asshole Jones. All right, cool. Like, I'm teabagging you, buddy. And it gives it an air of realism, I think. But, anyway, the Fallout thing here is what we talk about. Because I do love me some Fallout.
It's shocking though, because the Jonathan Nolan's no longer the showrunner. He's just directing the first episode.
Yeah, that's a little bit weird. That is a little bit odd, but it was a while ago that they announced it. It says here, Variety has confirmed that Geneva Robertson Dworet and Graham Wagner are now attached to serve as co-showrunners on the video game adaptation. In addition, Jonathan Nolan will direct the first episode of the series. Nolan and Lisa Joy were previously announced as executive producers on the project under the Kilter Films banner. All right, so Robertson Dworet. That's a Dworet. That's a hard one to say fast.
Robertson Dworet.
Yeah, Robertson Dworet is best known for her work on screenplays for the 2018 Tomb Raider and for Captain Marvel.
Oh no! God.
Wagner's past credits are Silicon Valley, Portlandia, Baskets, and The Office. Okay. I mean, well, then again, the level of crazy, over the humor in the Fallout show is going to have to be there. That very, very, very dark, twisted humor is going to have to definitely be there. So I'm hoping for a lot.
What would this show even be? Should it be like its own story in the Fallout universe, or should it be an adaptation of one of the games?
Own story.
Yeah.
Its
Own story. Yeah.
Where would you set it?
I would.
It has to be United States, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what they should do? Fallout in Florida.
I mean, isn't Fallout already? I mean, isn't Florida kind of already like Fallout?
That's just the setting.
Yeah, it's just a setting. It's just a setting. It's like cruise on in there after a hurricane. Great place to film. It's already done the set work for you. No, I think okay, maybe I'm just like a little bit biased towards the original, but the Northwest. Because the first one's set in like Oregon and Washington.
Yeah, and then you have Boston for 3.
Boston was for 4. Washington D.C. was for number 3.
Washington 3, yeah, my bad.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I don't want like Boston was okay. I thought Boston was a cool enough setting. I enjoyed the game a lot, but I felt it was also like too. I don't know. I felt that it was like just a little bit too.
Should they do New York City for the next game or like the show?
The show would be expensive because they'd have to film it in probably like Toronto or something. And that's gonna if you're gonna be putting like a power suit walking through fucking downtown. So they're probably going to shoot someplace like, I would argue if they're going to film anywhere, it's probably going to end up being in Canada, maybe out by Alberta area, like the Calgary area is kind of like the Texas of Canada. So you could probably make that look a lot like the wasteland, maybe even in Saskatchewan, because there's nothing in Saskatchewan. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot of fun because it's been like quite frankly, almost 3 years since they announced anything for the show. So they've been working on it. No other word for when it's going to be coming out. And it's also entirely possible that this could be based on Fallout 76.
Oh God.
So it could be West Virginia. Highway.
Yeah, play that song as the entire game crashes and glitches out in the most horrific ways. Just the world around them. You want to capture the Fallout 76 experience. The actors just start glitching out and falling through the floor. Just like this is a true video game adaptation.
And then all of a sudden, like the first episode ends with a message from Todd Howard. We'll be patching this for future episodes.
No, the opening of the show is Todd Howard saying, "What you're about to watch is a work in progress. Just so you know, our game, the Fallout universe, has a history of glitches."
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling there's gonna end up being a lot of in jokes based around that. A lot of the in jokes in that show are gonna be very much related. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Nuke the Fridge reference in New Vegas ends up in the show.
Hey, why not?
I wouldn't be surprised, but I'll tell you what I would love. I tell you what I think would be better here is if somebody from Obsidian, like the head writer from Obsidian, came on as a consultant for this show and like worked on a lot of the scripts, because now that Microsoft owns Bethesda and the Fallout brand, and they also own Obsidian, who made Fallout, they should just give that brand right over that franchise right over to Obsidian and let Todd Howard play with the Elder Scrolls and Starfield and never have to worry about it ever again. And then we get New Vegas 2 or something else that's going to be an absolute goddamn godsend, because what would happen. I'm not wrong. If Obsidian makes another Fallout game, we're all going to be very happy, because there's not going to be any goddamn base building.
Isn't that just the Outer Worlds too?
Yes, but Fallout and longer.
But they're making Outer Worlds too, so when are they going to make another Fallout game?
Dude, they crank out games pretty quick, man. You have you ever looked at Obsidian's library?
I know. I'm just saying, man.
Don't fuck with my dreams, RJ.
Outer Worlds is your Fallout by Obsidian.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. Okay. Oh, Caden had to bounce?
Yeah, Caden left for...
Okay. Oh, he's going over to Enosh's stream?
Yeah, he
Quitter.
left us.
Quit. No, I'm kidding. No. There's everyone's talking about this news tonight, 100%. And apparently nobody's on the side of the scoopers. Even Enosh's stream is titled "Movie Scoopers Suck."
He's not wrong.
And nobody is backing him up tonight. Oh, here we go. Geek Studio says, "Oh, is that why CW stands for Chud Watch?"
Hey, they probably would have been more profitable if that's what their channel was.
Probably would have been, yeah. Oh, by the way, apparently the digital version of Ghostbusters Afterlife is now out. I need to pick that up. I've got to watch it.
Yeah, I watched it last night or night before.
Was it good?
Yeah, yeah, it's good. I mean, it's definitely not, if you're looking for anything as good as the first one, then no. But if you're looking for better than 2016, fuck yeah.
That's good.
What about number 2?
It's better than 2.
I haven't actually revisited that one in a long time. From what I hear, it's not as good as you thought it was when I was a kid, but I actually haven't tested that out for myself.
Okay, because I've watched it as an adult and I love it as an adult, so I need to give Ghostbusters Afterlife a watch. So I'm excited. I just have not been able to make it to the theater, but at least now it's on digital, so I can give it.
Yeah.
Hold that up. One there.
There's a guy in here named Frost Family Takeover saying Dream Killer RJ. And he has like a picture of a demonic Darkside Phil.
Yeah. No, he was in here last night. He usually has he's got the Doom guy or Wolfenstein guy is Avi. He also killed poor DSP dreams of a nice stream full of tips and support. Listen, man. You know what? I mean, look, he's already jerked off on stream once. So, I mean, he's got it out of the way the first time and he lived to tell the tale. Hey, that could be his next grift. Just fire up a stream on Plex Storm.
Who's worse? Jarba, you know about these people probably. Who's worse? Who's worse? Darkside Phil or Wings of Redemption?
Man, I get compared to both pretty often, to be honest with you. I mean, like, honestly, Wings of Redemption is worse.
You think so?
Like, Darkside Phil keeps in his lane. Darkside Phil sticks to himself. You know, he's a whiny son of a bitch.
He's eternal though. Nothing stops that man. He's still going all this time. He's like a cockroach. You can't kill him.
Yeah. Like what? He has to file bankruptcy. Like he gets I think he got his bank account hacked and they saw how much money he spent on microtransactions or some shit.
Oh, I mean, WWE champions.
Yeah. I saw a couple years ago, someone did a 4-hour Darkside Phil recap for a year.
Oh, there's a couple, yeah.
And I watched the whole fucking thing because that was right after my kid was born. My daughter was born, and so I was on the nighttime feeding shift, and I'm sitting there feeding her, and I'm like, well, I need something to watch. So I ended up just like coming across this like video, this 4-hour, and it wasn't even a supercut. It was legitimately a 4-hour video someone made about Darkside Phil's year in review. I'm like, all right, and I just watched the whole thing over like 2 nights, I think. And I was like, well, I feel like a lesser person for doing this.
And yes, Frost Family Takeover, that is technically true. Let's talk about that on Hollywood After Dark, though.
What?
Oh, Wings is, Wings.
Oh, Wings is a cat / deer killer? I didn't know that. And he stole $1,400 for a failed surgery donation? That's fucked up.
Have you watched Down the Rabbit Hole on Wings of Redemption?
No, man. Listen, I don't watch a lot of the Down the Rabbit Hole stuff because I feel one day there will be one on me. And there's already videos that are kind of like about that shit about me, like when everything happened a couple years ago. A lot of people like did a deep dive into my life and took some very extreme liberties with shit that was said. So, I don't really dive into much of those anymore because it's not really.
Yeah, I understand. I will
unless
say,
it's
though,
like really egregious, unless it's super egregious.
Yeah,
then
I will
maybe.
say though, it is a fascinating documentary though. It really, really is. But
I might have to give that a shot. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. Hold on real quick. Got a couple super chats here. Simon section, $5 says, guys, what about Phil Collins tonight? I'm going down like a monkey and it feels right. I don't know what song that is, man. I don't know.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
We're not doing karaoke. I mean, I want to wrap up in about probably 20 minutes or whatever. So, I don't want to do karaoke tonight. Jess here for $5. Thank you. Says back at SuperCon, we sang for 30 minutes at karaoke about Kyle's mom. Well, Kyle's mom's a bitch. She's a big fat bitch. She's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world. It's a great track.
It's a good one. It's classic.
The whole soundtrack's great, right? The whole soundtrack's great. I mean, like, Uncle Fucker is pretty good.
Satan's soliloquy song thing that he does.
Oh yeah. It's him dreaming about being up on Earth. Oh man, yeah, it's such a great track. Did you ever hear South Park had an album? They put out an album.
Maybe.
It was called, I think it was Chef Aid. I think is what the album was called.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they had like, but they had like Primus pop up and hold on, is it Chef Aid the album? There's yeah. I had this, right? I actually had the CD of this. I don't know. I wish I knew where it was. Because it's got like "Come Sail Away" by Eric Cartman.
Oh yeah,
Like the full "Come Sail Away."
Oh my god.
Sung by Eric Cartman. They've got like "Wake Up Wendy" sung by Elton John. I Feel Like Making Love by Ned Gerblansky. It's all done in that voice. Tonight is Right for Love with Meatloaf and Isaac Hayes as Chef.
What the hell?
Yeah. It's Love Gravy with Rick James and Ike Turner. No Substitute with Chef. I mean, like, you know, they did a bunch of shit, man. They did like it's great. Like it's awesome. Hold on. You know, well, I'll play the first little bit of this. You guys got to hear this. I'll get copyright taken down tonight, but that's fine. Because that's always fun.
It's worth it for South Park.
It is worth it for South Park. Because I love South Park. Even I feel so bad like that Isaac Hayes ended it the way that he did. Especially
Kenny's Dead by Master P.
Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah. That's on there too, man. That's on there too. Just check. This is Chef and Meatloaf.
Tonight is right for love. You know I wanna touch you where the lights don't go. Tonight is right for love with Meredith Baxter Burney. Expressing love so sweet. I'll keep you burning like a dog in heat. Tonight is right for love with Meredith Baxter Burney. We had a love that was so magical. Meredith Baxter burning in my soul. I'm not talking about Meredith Baxter burning today, no. I'm talking about Meredith Baxter burning that was on Family Ties 10 years ago.
Like that's the thing I don't get about Isaac Hayes, man. Like he did all this shit, but making fun of Scientology was too far.
Oh well, if you look into that a little bit, it's not as simple as that.
After the love comes the darkness of hell. A demon inside you like a bottomless well. Nothing is safe and everything is a lie. Love doesn't last no matter how hard you try. Burn it through your brain. I think of the pain when you finally realize that it's all in vain. Splinters of wood that get forced in your eyes. Cheap as a steel being wrapped on your thighs. Your skin's coming off and you run. And it's all what?
Where you going, son?
Oh, gosh.
Come back to us. We're over here.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Chef, man. Sorry.
Okay, son, but this song is about Meredith Baxter Burney, all right? But not about splinter of wood in your eyes.
You're right.
Here, have a taco.
Oh, taco. Great. I need a taco.
Anyway, I don't want to play the whole song, but that right there is that's one of my favorite tracks.
Wow.
That is, the whole album is great. Like I saw someone make a comment in here about the Simpsons album, right? Yeah, the Simpsons Sing the Blues.
Oh, the Simpsons has done a ton of albums.
I've got I got a throwback for you. I don't know if anybody's will even know what this is, but one of the first like musical albums I ever owned as a kid came through, you know, of course, because I was a big cartoon animation fan as a little kid, and so I was a Ninja Turtles guy of that age. And there was the Ninja Turtles, what was it called? Coming Out of Their Shells tour.
Right. Oh, I had that tape.
Dude, so bad. Like it was so. It was like it was early '90s, but it was like leftover cock rock kind of sounds. So it was like just power ballads and oh man, such bad turtle puns. But I actually went and saw him in concert. My dad took me.
Oh man, I remember my my stepmom got me a copy of that on VHS. I think for like Christmas or something. And I watched it and I was like, I remember when I was a kid, I think telling myself I liked it.
Yeah.
You know, because it was turtles,
Yeah,
and
same.
I had a bunch of turtles toys. As I found out the other day, because I didn't realize this, I didn't really remember. Apparently, I was really big into He-Man as a kid. I had He-Man toys, and I had my Ninja Turtle toys. I remember my Ninja Turtle ones. I don't remember He-Man, but my dad and my stepmom are very adamant to tell me that I was a big He-Man nut when I was a kid. So I'm like that made me feel pretty good because they're like, do you remember when Masters of the Universe the movie was on HBO? And because I didn't have HBO at my house, but my dad had HBO when I went to go visit, and the Masters of the Universe played a lot. And my stepmom's like, "You watched that fucking movie on repeat. You just kept watching it the whole time you were visiting." And I'm like, "Cause it's fucking great." And she's like, "Is it?" I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah, was it?
It's like you can't sit there and tell me that the Mario Brothers movie isn't also great. I love that
True.
fucking movie.
True.
That movie is fantastic. Ray here says Meatloaf and Dio killed it in Peck of Destiny. Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Opening track of that fucking movie. I love the Pick of Destiny soundtrack. Dave Grohl as Satan just took it to a whole other level. So there's that. Okay, little more super chats to get through here. Rational Skeptic, $2. Thank you, buddy. Says Matt is a variant of Spawn Wave. Am I?
Not real.
I don't know,
I see a
man.
resemblance.
Like, I mean, we follow each other on Twitter, and I can't quite tell you why. Because I don't know, but whatever, you know. Thank you, I guess. And then H-Bar's here for $2 says, if Haley Steinfeld had a Twitch, RJ would simp. Well, I mean, there's not even a question.
It was a question. It was a question. Would I simp?
No, it's not a question.
The answer is no, because I don't have the money for that.
I tell you
But what if she had an OnlyFans?
No.
Bullshit.
Speaking of MCU queens on social media, Brie Larson is back on YouTube, you guys.
She is. She uploaded her first YouTube video in a hot minute. And I saw a lot of people tag Geeks and Gamers and all the usual people saying, "Look, really? She's back, guys, look."
Is she is it like the only videos of hers I've seen recently are the ones she posts to social media where she's like working out and it's just a glorified ass shot?
Yeah, pretty much. Or there's one that was really, really cute where she's laying in bed playing guitar and singing. If you watch some of the ones where she's playing guitar and singing, you'll fall in love, I promise.
No, I mean, I have nothing. I'm not, and you know, I always kind of find it funny, like when Brie Larson like puts out those kind of videos, so she has to be aware of the kind of response she gets. Like, look, I'm telling you, when she went on Jimmy Kimmel and wore that dress on Jimmy Kimmel, that was done deliberately. That was done deliberately as fuck. Like, think so? Oh, come on, man. You saw that dress, right?
I can't remember. I'm sure I did. I just can't think of it right now.
Hold on, I'll find it for you. Okay, hold on.
I'll show you.
Yeah, hold on here. Let me just pull up my file.
Yeah, pull it up real quick.
Let me just pull it. Hold on. Anyway, no, I'm not that perverted. I mean, I am that perverted, but I'm not going to admit that on the air. So no, I'm trying to find the right image. Oh, you know what? This one will fly. This one tracks. And yeah, no, she wore a very, very kind of revealing dress on that night. And it was really, it caught the eye, you know, it really caught the eye.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a very, like, the fabric is very, elegant. So
sure. You know, I mean, it looks kind of velvety, if I'm being honest with you.
She's wearing some nice earrings.
Yeah.
Like, I like the way that her hair is kind of, almost intentionally, but meant to be like it's casually tousled a little bit. You know, that's good.
Yeah, she had a little bit of fun with that one. Here's a wider shot, you know, to give you the full look. Your buttons are great.
Good buttons.
Not really symmetrical, but you know, I mean, one looks a little bit bigger than the other, but that's fine. You know, button wise.
I mean, look. Yeah, I'll just say what we're all saying. She's a very talented woman.
I was laughing my ass off about that simply because I'm like, as soon as I saw that, like the quartering was just like, honey, I'll be in my basement.
Yeah. Don't clog the sink again.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm not trimming my beard in there this time. So I think that's really about it. Like that cracked me up a lot when that whole thing came back around. But I guess for the final topic of the night, there was one
super chat though.
Oh, I did. Sorry. Yeah, I want to try to get to that one there. H Bars to $2, man. Thank you. Says TMNT, the 2003 series was great.
Yes.
I never saw that. I never saw.
You can watch it on Paramount Plus. It's worth it. It's great.
Okay. Is that the one where they added in the female one? What's her name? Venus or whatever?
You're thinking of the live action show that came out in like the 90s.
Well, she is a character in the comics now, though. They brought her into the comics, so they've
kinda, but she's a different name though. It's a different backstory too.
Even the Ninja Turtles are woke now. Can you believe they put a female in a show? Ugh.
There are no female turtles.
The 2003 series is a lot more faithful to the comics than the original 80s cartoon was, and it's really good. It's really good.
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, well, the 80s show was about selling toys. But look, they were decapitating the Foot Clan, because they were robots in the original show. And they were fucking them up, right? And then it's like, no, but they were people. I remember like reading the original Turtles comics. Those things were violent.
Yeah.
Oh, they are.
They definitely like dulled it for the kids, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. And then but if you watch the tone of the original movie, kind of felt like it matched the tone of the original comic. It didn't feel like it matched the tone of the cartoon at all.
No.
The second one did. The first one was a lot different.
I mean, if the first one is kind of a blend of both because there really wasn't a lot. They didn't have a lot of personality in the comics. That's the one kind of negative thing that like the positive of them making it for kids is that they each got their own very distinct and somewhat goofy and especially in like Michelangelo's case, personality. Whereas in the comics, they were all pretty dead fucking serious. They were meant to be a satirization of Daredevil. So, it was like, just that general, Batman, Daredevil kind of vibe, street vigilante thing. And they were real serious.
By the way, Matt, you probably haven't read this, but have you heard of TMNT, The Last Ronin?
I was going to read that. I knew that it was coming out and I was really contemplating starting a side project channel where I would just talk about comics that I read. And I know people have said, oh, that's a cool idea. Would you do it? I'm like, I can't even talk about shows that I watch. Don't expect me to keep up with fucking talking about comics. That's a little bit on the different side there. But I want to read more of them because I feel like there's a lot of good comics that I've missed. And that one sounded really cool. So I need to, is the run complete on that one now? Should be.
I think so. I think there might be one more issue left. I'm not for sure though. I have to go back and look. I think the trade paperback's already out though. I'm not for sure.
Yeah, okay, I'll have the first arc or so.
Yeah, let's do that. Oh, by the way, there was a H Barts with an IMAX member for 8 months. Man, thank you. I wish I could highlight it, but I can't. This is Jarbo Buster Afterlife. There you go.
You could take that in a really weird direction if you wanted to. If you just change it to after.
well, you know what I'm just gonna say to that, RJ? Bustin' makes me feel good.
Oh.
All right, then. So, Variety had an interesting article, didn't they, Jarbo?
Oh, they did, actually. But, sorry. There's two articles, two quick items to get through here. One is, there's obviously the Andrew Garfield thing. However, I did want to touch upon this, though. So, Tamara Morrison has teased a big surprise for the final episode of Boba Fett, which I don't know how you guys feel. I've been loving it. I really like this last episode.
I like it as well. I've seen people like I Am Robot Head though complain that he's an old man in dentures acting like a clown though. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean that's like taking for one thing that's being incredibly fucking shitty towards the actor himself. You don't know what issues he might have had that have caused him to need dentures. But at the same time, like it's also just he took a gif of like 2 seconds of the show where he's
trying it's like saying like a bantha.
He's trying to show the Tuscans how to ride this thing, and he's supposed to look kind of goofy in that 2 seconds.
Yeah,
right?
It's meant to be comedic.
And they took that look what they did to our poor boy kind of thing. It's like, come on, man.
Can I mention spoilers real quick for episode 2?
Sure. Spoiler alert for episode 2.
Black Chrysoton is in live action. Yes.
Yeah, I saw King of the Golden.
The Wookiee gladiator bounty hunter.
Oh, I didn't know his name. He was fucking awesome looking though.
He's from Dr. Affleck in the Dr. Affleck comic books.
Cool.
Well, he also was in other comics as well, but he did make his way to Dr. Aphra. So, but I think, again, given the way that these shows tend to kind of work themselves out, what we're going to see is probably a lot more, like a lot more of the Aphra stuff. Because I do think an Aphra show is coming.
Oh, absolutely. I'd be shocked if it wasn't.
But I mean, so I'm wondering who the finale big surprise is. It going to be Harrison Ford as Han Solo? I don't believe that.
I think it's gonna be Han. I think it's gonna be Han Solo.
I hope not, man. I really, really, really hope not.
Who else could it be?
It could be Lando. It could be it could be Kira. Oh
I
my
feel
fucking
like
god! If
Harrison
it's Cad
Ford
Bane,
is the Batfleck of Star Wars at this point, where he's just so done with it, he wants to be done.
well, I mean, like, look, that's
What
the
if
thing
it's
is,
Alden Ehrenreich though?
I'd be okay
Okay.
with that.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that, like 100%. I'd be like down. Yeah. I think it's possible that it could be Alden Ehrenreich. It could be. There was the rumor that Amelia Clark is going to be back as Kira, like, because they did just start doing the Kira comic, the Crimson Dawn
What if
stuff.
it's Mace Windu?
Star Wars theory would ejaculate so hard it would kill him
If it was Mace Windu.
if it was Mace Windu.
When did they start the Kira book? Because if it's anything like Marvel, they are definitely, Marvel is very, very synergic.
I think it was last year. Last year.
Yeah. There's a couple episodes that are out, or a couple issues.
Okay.
Yeah, I just let's see. All right.
Simon Section says it will be Dash Rendar.
Dude, that would be fucking sick, man. All right, like, what if it's like Carl Katarn, or Dash?
Oh, no,
like,
he's doing a good time, man.
Right? I'm just saying, like,
I got a feeling it's gonna be Han though.
I think it's gonna be Kira, because Reed Coles here said Eric Voss did a theory that Kira might be over with the Hutts. I think so, because again, they're doing her comic run, and they're doing the Crimson Dawn stuff, and I'm like, there's a comic. I just want to know what it's called. Oh yeah, Star Wars Crimson Reign is what it's called.
Porkins, yeah.
It should be Porkins' grandson. Yes,
dude. If it was Porkins, again,
there would be a lot
awesome.
of fans who would unironically still be cool with that. Like, fuck yeah, there would be some who'd be like, oh, what a letdown.
No. Here's what they should do: the final episode, Boba's about to die. The Hutts are gonna kill him. His reign as Daimo of Mos Espa is threatened. Who comes to the rescue? Max Rebo. He goes flying out. His little his musical, like his piano or whatever you call it. It's actually a hovercraft that with laser guns, and he comes to save Boba, and he helps him. That's the finale right there.
So I have a theory. All right, I have a theory about the Kira thing. Because so issue 1 of Crimson Reign, which is the Kira comic, that dropped December 8th. The second issue drops February 2nd. And the third issue is on March 9th. Now, the second issue, don't you think it's kind of weird that they're doing December 8th and then the next one's not for 2 months?
That is interesting.
Weird.
Because Wednesday, February 2nd, is the penultimate episode of Book of Boba Fett.
So it drops between the penultimate and the final episode?
I wanted to mention real quick. I believe it's been confirmed that episode 6, the penultimate episode, is written and directed by Dave Filoni.
Yes. Which is always going to have a character reveal in there.
I think episode 6 and 7 will have character reveals.
Oh, that's going to be sick. Here we go.
Anytime the showrunner actually writes an episode, it's probably going to be a big one.
Yeah, well, Rodriguez is a showrunner, but they're the exec producers of it.
Yeah, he hasn't directed an episode yet, though. Where's Rodriguez's directed episode?
No, he directed the first episode. He did the first one.
He did.
Yeah,
My bad.
I thought Dave Filoni was doing this episode. It was someone I'd never heard of, but he did a great job.
It was Steph Green.
Green. H writes here for $2 says Max Rebo is a real string puller, probably.
It was Max Rebo all along.
It was Max Rebo. That'd be a great shirt.
Everybody wants Max Rebo when I'm really wanting to know what's going on with Fagrin to Ann and the modal nodes. You know what I mean? Where are those guys at? No? All right.
Is that the
Mos Eisley guys?
Oh, okay. They're still around. They're probably still at Mos Eisley. This is Mos Espa. Get your geography right there, buddy. But King of the Golden State here for $5 says rumors of a Han Solo appearance in the comics. There's been a Black Kirsten Chewbacca fight didn't fare for one of them. Well, I would assume at this point that Boba is going to fight him.
Well,
I think-
here's the thing that I just want to say. In the comics, Boba and Black Chrysoton have teamed up. They've been on the same side before.
Yeah, but there's probably going to be a conflict where like they're going to beat him, and then there's going to be that level of respect, you know? Like he could kill him, but he chooses to not kill him. They're already establishing that anyway, right? Where you had the Gamorreans, and he's like, you were loyal to your previous masters. If I were to free you, would you be loyal to me? You know? And then Fennec's like, this is a bad idea, and he's like, whatever, fuck that shit. But the Gamorreans kick ass.
You know what they should do? You know what they should do? Bring Jar Jar Binks in for the finale.
I'd be okay with that. I'd be 100% okay with that. Again, kind of like Porkins. You know, kind of like Porkins. I'd be like, all right, man. Like, you know what? Let's do it. If Porkins showed up, I'm like Dane. I would be unironically okay with it. Like, all right, you know, like where have you been? Oh, you've been helping Indy find the fucking Covenant.
I just realized something. Dave Filoni, right?
Yeah.
They brought in the Hutts. Stinky the Hutt from the Clone Wars movie.
Oh no.
He's gonna come back as an adult to help Boba. Guarantee it.
No.
I guarantee it. That Hutt from the Clone Wars movie is going to be in the show. Guarantee it. And he's going to be the one who helps Boba get the Hutts off his back.
But what if it has something to do with the Rebel Alliance and it's like, what if it's Leia? Right? Just adding, you know, what if it's Leia, which they shouldn't do.
No.
And I don't think it will be. But like, look, we know that Captain Rex is still out there, and we know that he was at the Battle for Endor. And it's a high likelihood that Tamara Morrison is still going to be in Ahsoka as Rex because he's been growing out his beard. So just what if there's a Rex cameo?
Yeah, that's a possibility. I wouldn't mind a Rex cameo, but I'm being serious though. I think Jabba's son should return in some way. We never really figured out what happened to him.
I mean, it's kind of like Zero the Fett, right? Or Zero the Hutt. It's just Fett, Jesus. You know, like that guy, like the Truman Capote voice and shit was a little bit too much.
Well, we don't need that, Charbo. We don't need that.
Well, he's dead anyway. We saw him murdered.
Yeah, Zero the Hutt died. I'm talking about like I want to see the son. I want to see Stinky.
Yeah, you want to see like Chad Stinky rolling up?
Yeah.
Be like, oh, it's just ripped.
And he shows up, and then Ahsoka appears in the next episode, and they remember each other.
Did you? That would be interesting. If that would be fascinating. It's all like, what if Ahsoka shows up in the show? Yeah. What if it's Ahsoka and she saved because she saved Stinky back when? I mean, that would look. I'm not gonna. That would be a Dave Filoni move right there. Not saying I would love it. I'd be okay with it.
That feels more like a cartoon thing, but I don't care.
Yeah, I'd be, you know, it could be kind of fun. It'd be a great callback is what that would be.
Or Omega. Could be Omega.
I don't know if we're at the point. Yeah, Omega. I like the way I'm Omega.
Omega.
I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if we're fully there yet for a live action Omega. It's just, I feel like we've only got the one season of Bad Batch, which did tie in with Fennec Shand, so maybe. But that Cad Bane leak that came out, that rumor about Cad Bane would be dope as fuck. I was talking about that with my dad today too. My dad, we're talking about like Star Wars, and he's all like, "So who do you think might pop up?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I mean, there's a bunch." He's like, "What about other bounty hunters?" I'm like, "Well, there might be Cad Bane," and he's kind of unfamiliar about Cad Bane. I'm like, "Dude," if Cad Bane shows up in live action, I will fucking die. Like, I so hyped for that. Because when he popped up in the Bad Batch, I was legitimately happy.
It was I was so shocked because it just happened. I literally almost broke something in my house. I was that happy and elated. I literally had like a physical reaction. I jumped up out of my seat. I was so happy.
I don't know about you, Dane, but I'm a big Cad Bane fan.
This is you guys have me at a loss here. I'm not.
Oh, you got to watch Clone Wars, dude.
Extended Star Wars stuff, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So and the Clone Wars, man.
Clone Wars. Okay, if anything, if you're just looking for a one-off, season 1 finale. It's
that's all you gotta watch. That's
all you gotta watch. It's effectively Die Hard in the Senate. So Cad Bane gets sent in with a group of other bounty hunters
to basically hold the Senate hostage.
And it's Anakin against these guys, and they're all like trained bounty hunters and shit. And it's basically like Die Hard. It's a solid fucking episode. Like, and then after that, you'll love Cad Bane. You'll just love Cad Bane. Did you watch Bad Batch?
He has history with Boba as well.
I watched. I didn't see like the last few episodes.
Okay. Did you see the one where like Omega got captured by She was captured,
By
and
Fennec.
then I thought
Oh no! It was Cad Bane that captured her, and then Fennec went after Cad Bane to capture her.
yeah.
Okay,
I
yes,
don't
that was Cad Bane. Okay,
Yeah,
Cad
he's the
Bane's
blue guy,
the
the
blue
blue
guy, the blue guy.
gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's
Yeah,
the one
blue
who
guy
put
with
the
cowboy hat. Yeah.
yeah, and isn't he the one who put the dent in Boba's helmet?
Yes, he was. Yes.
And then also Boba put a dent in his helmet, in his cranium as well. So like, I think that's what happened.
I think that's what's supposed to happen. Yes.
But they have a history. If you go and watch the Clone Wars has a lot of arcs, a couple arcs with Boba Fett as a child who was driven by revenge to kill Mace Windu.
And he interacted with Cad Bane, a couple of bounty hunters as a child. Yeah.
As a child. So like he gets around and shit. Like, dude, Clone Wars is like it has some flaws in regards to storytelling for how like some of the arcs play out. But it's like every 3 episodes is another arc. And so I thought that was a great way of presenting it. Let's see here. Geeks here says, what about a live action Kanan? I mean, Kanan is kind of dead at that point.
Yeah, he's dead at this point, sadly.
So I don't know. But I mean, what if we got IG-88?
No, dude, Bosk and Dengar.
No, I know. I'm making a joke about how we had IG-11 who was awesome. And then what if they replace him with IG-88?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a
He's
thing.
voiced by Taika Waititi.
That would be kind of funny there too. I don't know, man. I want them to bring back IG-11. I just loved IG-11. But the reason why I want to talk about this though is this. I saw this was sent to me too. So Ethan Von Shithead, makes a comment here. Says, "Holy shit! I'm so fucking glad I canceled Disney Plus." And he's quoting this, talking to this guy, Phil. Kind of. But this is what it is. So Phil Noble Jr. Says, George Lucas, 1980, Boba Fett is a ruthless mercenary who'll do the dirtiest job for the highest bidder. Boba Fett 2021, the othering of the indigenous people of Tatooine stops now.
What?
And then, yeah. Dude, people are fucking furious that, like, he's been working with the Tuscans.
Do they just hate that Boba as a character now?
No, they just have they'll complain about anything. Here's the thing. Even if you don't want to look at it and like, oh, woke, he's helping the indigenous people. He's doing what he can. You think about the situation he was in where he's crawled out of a fucking Sarlacc. He's taken prisoner. He doesn't have a whole lot of chance to, he actually did try to escape and couldn't fucking make it. So what do you, as just a smart, practical guy, what's he going to do at that point? He's going to, get in good with them. If you don't want to look at it as the right thing to do, which maybe he didn't, Boba Fett at first. Maybe he did just start out thinking, I'm going to strategically get in with these guys so I can get, take their shit and get out of here. But then, oh, wait. They're actually cool people, and they're getting,
and you can learn something from them and be a better person and better bounty hunter.
That's why I think it's disingenuous. Even if you don't want to look at it from the indigenous people kind of thing, like he's doing it to help the people. It's like he's doing it because it's helping himself too.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like the whole plan is that I guarantee you the end of the show is him going back to the Tusken Raiders to help him defeat all these bounty hunters and kill the Hutts and take over Tatooine. He's going to rule Tatooine and Mos Espa by being like the guide to the Tusken Raiders, right? Like that's the whole point of the arc.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to seeing whatever they do with it. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it all plays out and everything else. Like I think the show, look, that train sequence was fucking badass.
Yep.
And the great, Tuskens are hardcore. And look, the thing was like, go back to the episode, to the, chapter 9 of Mando, right? Season 2, episode 1. That gave us a definite interesting look at Tusken Raider culture. And then now we're getting it from another perspective. And and then also look at the Tashi Station bit, giving us characters that were from a deleted scene from the original Star Wars. So it's like they're really paying homage to a lot of this kind of stuff, and that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
So absolutely. I'm really happy with this. Also, Mo Moon here for $2. Thank you, buddy. Says headless Jango Fett cameo. I mean, technically, it already kind of happened.
Yeah.
Technically, it kind of did.
If it is Mace Windu, though.
Oh, did you guys see the people complaining because in the new shot version of the shot they did with young Boba grabbing his Jango's helmet?
There's no dinosaur or whatever.
The dead monster isn't back there, and it's like, God damn.
Even though it's meant to be a different angle, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I
Whatever.
mean, even if you want to, like, I could easily assume that they removed it just because you don't want to be focusing on the dead monster in the moment they're trying to set up for the show, right? They want you to be
It's not even
focusing
meant to
on
be the focus of the shot anyway. The focus of the shot's Boba.
right.
Oh, whatever. People are stupid.
So stupid.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I'll say this though. Like, I understand why they wanted to recreate that shot. I don't really feel like they should have recreated that shot. I don't feel that it was necessary to do so, but I get it. I get it. Cause it's like, it's a flashback to a scene we've already seen before. So just show us the thing that we've already seen before. But you know, hey, it was cool to see a bit more of it because we got a bit wider of a view, I think, in this one. And then I also love seeing Camino. Again,
True.
like I know it's gone now, which is unfortunate. But man, I'd love to go back and spend some time on Camino. That's the cool thing with Star Wars. They have some really interesting planets, you know. But you know, like look at Hoth and Camino. It's like water and snow. Yeah, those sound like fun. Oh, what's the other one? Desert Tatooine. Well, fuck this place.
Yeah.
But Endor, that's just Northern California.
Yep. That's the
so
spot.
that's the spot, baby. That's the spot. So, all right, let's take a quick look here at Andrew Garfield finally spilled the beans about Spider-Man. And
yeah, he did. Kind of like a tell-all interview. He's like, he could finally be open and talk about the movie now. So I guess he really was the werewolf.
he kind of was, yeah. And I'm really happy that this weight is off his shoulder, you know. And that was one of the things. Even like I think Tom Holland had said recently that he was so happy to finally be able to talk about it because it was just very stressful. And I really hate,
especially because you have to keep that secret for so long and like lie to people and deny it for months and months on end. It's tough. It's a tough position to be in because basically the entire integrity of the movie, right, rests upon your shoulders not to leak the biggest surprises.
yeah. And we all know how bad Tom Holland is at that. But you know what? In a nice, loving way. So, let's see here. So they asked him right off the bat, starting simple, why did you say yes to No Way Home? Saying, I wasn't expecting to ever have a conversation again about potentially playing Peter Parker. I felt very excited just to be a fan again. But I got this call from Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige and John Watts with this idea. It was immediately undeniable. It sounded incredibly fun, incredibly spiritual, trippy, and thematically interesting. On a base level, as a Spider-Man fan, just the idea of seeing 3 Spider-Men in the same frame was enough. I mean, yeah, I think at that point, we're all kind of on the same page with that.
Why wouldn't you want to be a part of that?
Oh,
So
100%.
he's a fan, is what he's saying.
Well, did you ever see his first appearance at Comic-Con? He dressed up. It was in Hall H. They were doing the Spider-Man.
He pretended to be like a Spider-Man cosplayer,
yeah,
basically.
Yeah, and I was. I had already gone home for the day. I had to go home early that day, and so I wasn't in Hall H when that happened. I was so pissed, but that was really cool to see. Because I just thought that was such a great way to kind of like introduce yourself into it with that, especially with that fan base that's in that room. And then he says here, the pitch was really, really enticing. They said, you played this character in your way. And what would you want to explore if you had an opportunity? If you were dumped into this other universe and faced this with this younger you and this older you, how would you respond? We talked about mentorship. We talked about brotherhood and about what it is to be the older brother, younger brother, and the middle brother. There's also a thing of seeing someone you love walking down a path you've already walked down, and you know it doesn't lead to the place you ultimately, or where you ultimately meant to go. The character is isolated in his emotional experience and physical experience, but what happens when that aloneness gets blasted open and you come to realize that you've never been alone and there are other brothers going through the exact same thing? That's a big spiritual journey to go on, man. And then we just milked out all the fun we could possibly have, which it really came together on screen, you know, like
Absolutely,
it really,
yeah.
I just want to see the outtakes of like them shit talking.
Oh, the bonus features of this movie are going to be incredible, hopefully.
I really hope they spend some time with that. A lot of deleted scenes are going to be great. Then following up here, you and Tobey Maguire really did this. This wasn't a green screen set up in your driveway. I wonder if that's kind of a dig at Zack Snyder.
I hope not.
A little bit. I mean, that's where they shot the Martian Manhunter stuff. And also the Wayne T. Carr stuff as well. Saying this wasn't a green screen set up in your driveway, and they have a profound impact on Tom Holland's Spider-Man. He says, we were shooting for 2 weeks, Toby and I, but I think we managed to achieve something that is not just showing up and going, hi, bye, My Spider-Man got to save his younger brother's romantic relationship, potentially, and to heal the most traumatic moment of his own life. Through doing it for his younger brother, making sure that he didn't have the same fate. There's something cosmically beautiful about that. It meant getting a second chance at saving Gwen. You know, the spirit that Zendaya brings to MJ is so heartfelt, pure, and loving, and Emma brought that similar, unique spirit to Gwen. And you know what? I agree.
That's one of the biggest moments in the movie, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the emotion on his face, you could just tell what it meant to him.
Well, there's that, and she asks him, like, "Are you okay?"
Mhm.
You know, like she asks him, like, as she's in his arms, you know, "Are you okay?" And he's just crying, like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be fine." That was emotionally cathartic for me, as weird as that is to say.
No, it was really good how it actually, you know, I expected cameos, of course, but like I did not expect to, for one, get so much time with all of them, but two, like for them to actually follow up on their arcs from their movies, you know, and kind of like put a button on them.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
and then also leave you really wanting more.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that's the other thing too. So it says here, talk about your time with your fellow Spider-Man. What did you share off screen? Compare notes about spandex and fans. It says here, I think the first time we were all in the suit together, it was hilarious because it's like three ordinary dudes who just were actors just hanging out. But then also you become a fan and say, oh my God, we're all together in the suits and we're doing the pointing thing. Oh, I wish they would have a shot of that, by the way.
They kind of did.
They kind of did, but I want to see it.
Silly.
I want to see the silliness. I just want to see the silliness. There was talk going about going to the bathroom and, you know, padding around the package. We talked about what worked for each of us. Tom was jealous because I have a little zippers in my suit that I can get my hands out of very easily. To work his phone, he had to use his nose because he couldn't access with his hands. We would have deeper conversations too and talk about our experiences with the character, and to have Amy Pascal there, who has seen through 9 movies, including Spider-Verse. It was a revelatory experience for her, realizing how much life and time she'd given to this character. That was beautiful and profound. You know, that's probably one of the nicest things anyone has ever said about Amy Pascal.
Yeah,
true.
No mention of Avi Arad though, which I think is hilarious.
Well, we don't talk about Avi Arad.
Yeah,
like,
we don't talk
about Avi. No. Anyway, and then there's an I love this right here. There's an improvised line of the movie. I'm looking at Maguire and Holland, and I tell them that I love them. That was just me loving them.
That's amazing.
I really enjoy.
Now when I watch that movie, now I'm going to be like, he literally just said that because he loved us too. He's
yeah,
like,
I love you guys. That was great. The screenwriter said at one point they considered bringing back Kirsten Dunst and Emma Stone. What would you have liked to see for your Peter and Gwen? He says, oh my God, I don't even know where to start with that. It's too big. Gwen had agency. In our film, on her final day, she shows up, I tried to restrain her from showing up to that scene with Electro. I knew it was going to be too dangerous, but she chose to be there. She had a hand in her own destiny in that way, and the movie is about fate. I will say the image of my catching Zendaya, that was really beautiful, and it kind of sold me on the whole thing. Which, yeah, I mean, like, that's, I think, what we all kind of thought when we saw that scene play out in the trailer. Like, oh, that's where Andrew Garfield is going to save her, and I'm glad we're all right on that.
Yeah, I'm glad we're all right. I mean, again, it was one of the biggest moments in the movie, and it was one of the biggest moments that got the loudest reaction.
Oh yeah, so very much so. I mean, especially when they just kind of both walked in the same 2 minutes. Like, oh hey guys, what's going on? Now they go on to say here, a lot of conversation about this movie has been about a sort of redemption for your Spider-Man, narratively, commercially. How does that feel? He says, I'm so grateful. I'm just really, really grateful that I got to tie up some loose ends for the Peter that I was playing. I love that character, and I'm grateful that I got to work with these incredible actors, this incredible director, and Marvel in conjunction with Sony. It was joyful and a feeling of closure for me. There was so many unanswered questions for my Peter where we left it. I got to step back in and get some healing for him. And also really supporting Holland's Peter and honoring his character, completing that trilogy and not distracting or detracting from it. Yeah.
No, it's true. They felt natural. They were used to further his own character arc. They didn't feel like they were just being thrown in there to distract from his, because that was like a concern going into this movie. It's like, is it still going to feel like Tom Holland's movie? And it absolutely still is. They're in the movie to support him, not to like take away from him.
Well, that was a joke a lot of us had back when like we first started hearing about this. Like, is Tom Holland even in his own movie? all these villains and Toby and Andrew, like, is he even going to be in this movie at all? And you're right. It was very much a Peter Parker, Tom Holland centric story that had the emotional arc and then brought in the support.
And everybody else in that movie was used to further his journey. They all played a role in getting him to where he needed to be by the end of the film.
Oh yeah, I agree with Reed here. Says, man, this interview is awesome. I completely agree. Jess, you're asking, why do people hate Avi Arad? Ooh,
Spider-Man 3 and some of the other stuff that he's a producer. He is instrumental in the franchise, but some of the stuff he's done,
yeah, a little bit on that side. You know what I mean? A little bit on the crap. Yeah, got to definitely be careful about that one there. And then finally, I think the last little piece of interview here is asking, would you be open to coming back to the character? And he says, I mean, yes, definitely open to something if it felt right. Peter and Spider-Man, those characters are all about service to the greater good and the many. He's a hard-working class boy from Queens that knows struggle and loss and is deeply empathetic. I would try to borrow Peter's ethical framework in that. If there was an opportunity to step back in and tell more of that story, I would have to feel very sure and certain in myself. Please do it. Like, I'm one of the ones
well, here's the thing. The fact that, because do you remember the Amy Adams interview? I think it was actually with Variety, where they sat the two actors down, they talked about their experiences in their careers.
No, I don't remember that.
Okay, so just to give you context, she asked him, because the conversation about franchise films came up, I think she talked about Man of Steel and stuff, but he talked about Spider-Man. He basically said at the end of his Spider-Man experience, he was so heartbroken and felt like his love for the character was basically like stripped away from him. So to see this transformation, this 180 to where you can feel the joy in his voice again about the character, that is nothing less than tremendous. I think it speaks to hopefully better executive decisions over at Sony, better just leadership, I think.
Yeah.
I think it also speaks to the fact that he feels a lot differently than he did a couple years ago now.
Well, H-Routes here says, for $5, buddy, thank you. Says, supposedly they wanted to do a scene with Andrew at Gwen's grave, talking about how he found his brothers. I heard that I did hear something about that, where there was supposed to be like
post-credit scenes, like
showing what happened. Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm glad that they didn't.
I kind of wish they did, though.
I know.
They would have been better post-credit scenes than what we got, to be honest.
I know. I'm not disagreeing with that, but I mean, because that Tom Hardy thing still pisses me off, but it's at the same time, it's like, this is the world we're in, and there is the what if of what happened when they went back to their own worlds, and maybe we'll get lucky and we'll get, TASM 3 or Spider-Man 4, as I know I see Andrew Casali in the chat, and Andrew Casali definitely wants the Spider-Man 4. I'll tell you this. I want them to team up again. I want a full fucking movie with the three of them. That might be difficult. That might be very difficult to do.
Maybe for Spider-Man 6, way down the line.
Yeah, because we're gonna get more Spider-Man, obviously, and
Do you think Toby's gonna do an interview like this or no?
I would love it if he did.
As a person,
he is. He absolutely is. But you know what, man? Like, I would just love to see what he has to say about this, because again, it is cathartic as a fan base. Like, how often do we get a trilogy that kind of wraps up like, two other trilogies, so to speak, or franchises?
Technically, it even acts as a third film for Andrew in a way.
It does, yeah. It kind of does, and it gives us a bit more there, and it was a meaty story and a good. It's so weird to talk about that, because I mean, Sony's gunning for Best Picture, and I kind of feel like, yeah.
I don't think it should win, but I've had the argument before. I don't see why it can't be nominated.
Sure,
at least nominated. I mean, why
I think
not?
It'll be nominated over. I know. Was it Disney? Because Sony is going to push No Way Home. I think Disney's going to push Shang-Chi.
I think they're going to try and push Eternals, to be honest.
I saw an article saying about they want to start pushing Shang-Chi. I think because the response was better. I think the response to Shang-Chi was better than Eternals. And doesn't Eternals come out next week?
Yeah.
Nice.
January 12th on Disney Plus.
I will finally be able to watch it.
Yeah, me too.
Andrew, why are you flipping out in the chat?
It's because it's Andrew.
I know.
I mean,
I think he got blocked on Enosh's channel, and now he's over here. It's like, chill out.
you know what? Like I haven't blocked Andrew yet. I don't have, he chills out over here a little bit. I think he's a bit calmer over here.
Well, I know you're not RJ, Andrew. I'm RJ. You're Andrew.
That's very true. So, I mean, as we, cause I still actually, I need to wrap this up cause I forgot I got to go take out the trash and it's,
how did I know you were going to say take out the trash?
it's cause it's Thursday night.
Day.
It's Thursday night. Well, here's the thing.
Day.
Last week, well, because of the snowstorm, last week, we took out the garbage company didn't tell us that they were delaying, or they were skipping the garbage. So like everyone on my street, like drug all their trash cans because it was trash and recycling, drug them up to the street. I left mine up there. I carved out like a space for them, like in the snowbank. And I'm like, you guys can stay here and shit. And then like, but the thing is all my neighbors are just going to take all their garbage and they're just going to like leave it, like just leave it outside for the dump, for the garbage people in the morning. Like, cause this is like, again, finally we have the street clear enough to be able to drive on. It's, Washington living, ladies and gentlemen, Washington living. But is there any final thoughts for you guys? Where can people find you at?
Well, for me, it's on the screen you're looking at. Resonant Justice for Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, all that good stuff. I got a series coming out in I think it starts next Saturday is my plan. It's called The Road to the Batman. I'll be looking at various 3 animated films and about I think 5 comic books that are like all based around stories that have inspired the Batman, the movie. So we'll be examining those and like live stream discussions. I might have some special guests come on, so that should be fun. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Cool, thank you. And Dane.
Oh yeah, I am as it says there. Forced Adversity. I mean, that's not my name. That's just the name of my channel. My name is Dane, but my channel is Forced Adversity, and that's my channel. And you can find me doing videos and streams on there. I'm going to be streaming every Friday evening. I'll try not to conflict with any Jarbo streams. And I think I invited RJ on to come on tomorrow, but then I just realized just now that you're ripping off my idea from my other channel, 3 Eras, where I look at different comic stories that inspire the movies. And so now we're gonna have to fight to the death.
I listen, Dade. I just realized I did not mean to copy that. I couldn't sleep last night, and I came up with an idea.
It's a good. I mean, look.
That way.
Look, you're welcome to use it. I won't fucking send the team of lawyers after you, RJ. You're a good dude, so I'm not gonna. You know what I mean? You're good. You can use it with my permission, my blessing. All right, but yeah, you're welcome to come on tomorrow. If you're still coming on, then RJ will be there. So
yeah, I should be there. Well, you're talking about like DC stuff tomorrow, right? Or
I'm going to be talking about probably some Snyder stuff. I got some stuff to get off my chest about that, and then other than that, we'll probably be looking at some good content creators, man. Like that's one of the reasons I wanted you on is I downloaded one of your videos as well as some other folks. Just to kind of platform some people and say, hey, look at these channels that are good. So yeah, trying to go in a more positive route, somewhat, at least tomorrow.
I'm trying, but like shit keeps happening, and I'm just like a stubborn son of a bitch.
What a crazy first week of the year.
I know. I'll just be honest with you guys. Like talking about Spider-Man and Star Wars, awesome, loved it. I'm like burnt out on the Snyder stuff, but it's like I just feel like it's best to. It just needs to stop, yeah. But I'm very happy that the conversation got to a great place at the end there. And then remember, guys, for those of you watching right now, if you want to help support the channel, the best way to do that would be subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell and like the video because it helps in the algorithm a little bit. Or leave a comment, that helps out too. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow night for another episode of Hollywood After Dark. Have yourself a great night and peace the fuck out.